Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today. Friday, YouTube. Welcome to the program. I am Tom Connors. It is fall. We're getting there anyway. Kids are back at school. Finally, most of them are. We've got a Canadian with us. We got a Norwegian with us, and we have a writer with us. So we have a diverse panel today. That's not where you thought I was going, was it, John? And we also have a lot to talk about, so we're going to get right into this. How you doing this morning, Andre?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here with this unbelievably diverse panel.
Indeed it is. Speaking of diverse, we have a Canadian here with a wild shirt.
Yes, that's correct. I am.
Welcome, Paul. How are you?
I'm wearing my wild shirt. Actually, that's my John Lasseter shirt. But
I can see that.
I'm only hugging my wife.
So you're basically like John Lasseter's thin, lesser alcoholic brother or something.
We haven't seen John lately. He could have lost some poundage.
True, and I don't think he's really an alcoholic. I've heard he likes his wine, but yeah.
I know some inside John Lasseter. As you know, I have a good friend who worked on the first 2 Toy Stories, and
cool.
He's told me a lot of inside stuff, which I'm not going to reveal. Basically,
you tease.
John is a heterosexual. Like, I'm sorry to reveal that for the first time on the internet. Shocking news. Finally, there's a heterosexual in Hollywood, but
so that's why he was fired from Disney.
Yes, that's right. They were shocked.
We have a very go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that I have an adjacent story to that Elle magazine, Canada's women's magazine, that has gotten into some controversy. But in their list of top 8. Canadian women, 6 of them are actually women without bulges. One of them was a terrorist, but they removed her at the last moment. And there's only one straight woman with a child who's married in the entire list.
Only one terrorist?
Only one that we know. Wow. That we know of. Anyway, so that just reminded me of the stuff I'm working on right now. Anyways, introduce Yanni over there.
Yes, we have John Delarose here, folks, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on Midnight's Edge. What you been up to lately? I know you used to write for Bounding into Comics and stuff like that, right?
Hola, buenos dias, ¿cómo estás?
Yeah. Shit, I pushed the wrong button.
Bene. No, that's Italian.
Is this Midnight's Edge Espanol?
Yeah, if you did that, that's how Mr. Beast got big. I mean, other than selling his soul to take Satan and taking the ticket. But he put all of his videos into translated languages and uploaded them across the world. And, you get a lot of viewers that way, I guess.
Yep. Well, we do have Midnight's Edge Espanol, but yeah.
Yeah. So, hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me here. I've been just writing up a storm, and I moved away from Bounding into Comics last year when corporate decided to censor me over there.
Oh
And that's
boy.
when John Trent, the editor, moved away too. They were going for Disney access with the corporation, and he just said nope. And so that's why he's went over to That Park Place. I'm sure you guys have read a lot of their
Yeah.
articles over there.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I started a site called Fandom Pulse, and a lot of people don't realize this. Like, people thought it's dead. I guess I'll put this in the back description because I forgot about this. But I write every morning, and I cover a lot of stuff that other people don't cover. Like
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman, the Sandman creator, is in a host of hot water, and nobody's been covering it basically except for me. I cover a lot of stuff with Warhammer 40K, BattleTech, comic books, and that is on Fandom Pulse. I moved it to Substack because what I found is I really like being there better. Google, about 3 months into my running it on my own website, just when the Sweet Baby Ink controversy was hitting, we just went through the roof with search impressions, and it just went from like it just went bonkers. We were getting, I think, around 70,000-80,000 clicks that month, just 3 months into being active. And then it was like a spigot turned off. Like, Google noticed that we were covering Sweet Baby Ink and being, anti woke or whatnot, and they just shut all of our impressions on Google to literally zero. You could see it go from 80,000 to zero. And
Wow.
stayed that way for about a month and a half. And so they turned off the website basically. And so I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to try to get advertising revenue, that model's not going to work. So I moved over to Fandom Pulse, where it's like or Substack, which is a subscription revenue model. And of course, people support over there by doing the subscriptions to help us out with our journalism over there. And also, of course, buying the books. I put my book links at the end of every post. I'm a fiction author as well. And that's done very, very well. We're actually doing better on clicks. We had about 100,000 views last month, which was our biggest month ever. So Substack actually kind of rocks. I like it.
I do have to say that you have some great articles over on Fandom Pulse, and as you know, John, because I've seen it after the fact, I've even been inspired to do a couple of few videos based on your writings, with full credit, of course. So
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and it's great, of course, to have YouTubers do the writings. And I'm really close with John Trent from That Park Place too. And sometimes, like, we see a lot of people, like, there's different channels that never credit the writing on it. It's pretty funny, and we do really, really appreciate it when people like you actually shout us out, because it's interesting. I came to the YouTube game late, and I'm at about 30,000 subs right now. But for those who kind of got in the Wild West of like 2016, 2017, you know how big things blew up then. But it's interesting that the writers of the articles don't blow up, but often people who read them do. And
yeah, it's
that's
funny how
fine.
that works.
But you really get little credit out there. So we do very highly appreciate it and love Midnight's Edge because of that.
Yeah, yeah. No, always take great pains at crediting the artist or the writer for better.
Clownfish is really good at doing that too. I'll shout them out.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are also some of the true old timers out there. Indeed. So yeah. Well, we're so glad to have you here, and we're so glad to have all of the audience out there as well. We have more than 500 watching so far. People are still rounding in. Please smash that like. Let everyone know that we are indeed live, and we got a couple of member messages, super chats to get us started off with before we get into the topics proper. Ruby Hoove has been a member for 3 months. We are glad to have you. He also gifted a membership, so that's free to claim, and thank you, Ruby Hoove, for doing that. Dr. Long Donglet sent us a £1.99 super sticker, so please smash that like in the honor of the Sordid Hamster right there. And then we have Hyper Guyver saying for $5, Andre, it's Chimerian September, and I find your lack of Conan content disturbing. This is a very good point, but September isn't over yet. There will be Conan, at least a couple of Conan videos will be dropping over the course.
Have you guys been reading the recent Conan stuff out of Titan Comics?
I still have to catch up on some. What I have read so far has been excellent. It's basically kind of like the Roy Thomas era brought back again, but I'm a little bit behind, and that's some of the stuff I'm planning to do now. It's like a review of everything up until this point up until the beginning of the Blackstone saga, and maybe some on how to read that in its proper order. What do you think about it so far, if you've read it?
It's excellent. It's 10 out of 10. Not only does it have that classic writing feel, but the artists they've got just have a wonderful feel as well to it that just kind of evokes that old style. And that's what
absolutely.
I'm into.
I mean, yeah, because I mean that guy, he is practically John Buscema reborn.
Yeah, so good. So, and yeah, somebody mentioned Savage Sword, which is kind of like their Savage Sword is like their magazine version. So in that you'll get a black and white comic, some prose stuff. They've actually been doing some Solomon Kane backups for the kind of deeper Robert E. Howard fans out there. It's excellent as well. That whole deal is wonderful. Jim Zub's killing it.
Yeah, he is, and we've of course had Jim Zub on here several times to speak about his writing ever since he first came aboard back in the Marvel days, and I think we've had him on 3 times actually.
Awesome.
So yeah,
I think so. Nice. That's count.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's September, and there will be Conan content to.
Kran is very disappointed in you.
Yeah, so we have like read in our books, and we have some.
Well, to be fair, I mean, we busted our ass on that Beetlejuice retrospective. As always, retrospectives never get any views. So yeah, that's kind of the domain a lot of that stuff falls into. So if you get a chance to check that stuff out, then that'd be great. But yeah, we'll try to come up with something sooner than later.
Yeah, indeed. We have some overdue reviews there, so we'll get into that. Big Daddy MRI's been a member for 39 months, saying, "I'm here lurking and working. Thanks, Andre and Tom, for making this channel great. Every time you're on the air, great discussions and reviews." Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. And Ben Dowdy says, "Hi, folks." And then Saki says, "For 1,000 Hungarian florins, call me Chato. Will you greenlight this? Rise of the Raven first teaser. I can't link the video." I believe I got an email about this. Have you seen this?
I've heard of it. I have heard of it. I have not seen it.
Tell you what you're going to do. I'm going to forward this video to you, and then we can talk about it more on Monday when more have had time to check it out. Since it's a Hungarian production and you're of Hungarian origins, it's only fair.
I'm seeing the cast list. Marian Harmanai, Balázs Csemeni, Vivian Rudyer. Yeah, these are Hungarian. Erno Fekete. So yeah, these aren't Hungarian at all. No, these are. Yeah, sounds good. Is this a show that's on streaming somewhere?
I don't know. It's a trailer. I don't think it's out just yet. So
yeah, I can see the trailer here. Okay. Wow. Sure.
Yeah, and indeed. And Tom, since before we get into anything else here, I know that you saw Beetlejuice yesterday. How was that, real quick? Okay. Right.
Let's see. Where do I begin with this? I won't get in any spoilers.
No spoilers. Yeah, no spoilers.
The more I think about it, the more it pisses me off.
All right.
Because there's nothing really overly woke in it. There's a lot of good ideas, but the problem with the film is that it feels like a streaming series that was crammed into a 90-hour and 45-minute movie. You have way too many new characters, way too many stories going on. This should have probably been a streaming series. Then they could have let all this breathe. Because you've got what feels like 2 or 3 different scripts, which it probably is, crammed together.
Well, there's Michael 3 Keaton, different writers.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you have the version that was originated from, like we brought up in our retrospective, from over a decade ago. And it's been rewritten since by Al Gough and this other guy that wrote on Wednesday and some other TV shows and movies like The Mummy 3. So, even Scripps said last night their pedigree is not all that great. I mean, these are the same writers that basically Jenna Ortega had to correct on Wednesday. Keep that in mind. She said that Wednesday would never say or do that or whatever it was.
Yeah, you're right. Scripps said weeks ago when the trailer came up for this movie, he said the writers on this movie suck.
Yeah, and it the pacing is horrible. Okay, Michael Keaton's great in it. Catherine O'Hara is amazing in it. The rest of the cast is decent. Willem Dafoe's character and some of these other characters in the film really feel like they shouldn't be here, right? I mean, they're fine. It's just like that should be like its own spin-off show. Or if this was a TV series, I wouldn't have a problem with them spending all this time with these characters, because they introduce all these new characters and give them all sorts of business to do and wrap up a lot of their storylines real unsatisfactory in the third act. And a lot of it could have been cleaned up. And it even has a similar issue that Frozen Empire did. Not just with the overbloatedness, but with one of the characters. And there's going to be some debate and talk about that. And I'll tell you right now, if some people don't have a problem with this character, yet they did have a problem with the one in Frozen Empire, then yeah, that's bullshit, because it's the same storyline, the same twist and everything. And you're like, wait a minute, that is so stupid. And that's the thing, is you're just going through the motions of the film going like, did Tim Burton actually direct this? Because it doesn't really feel like a Tim Burton film to me at times too. Now, it's had some mixed reactions between the group here. Like last night, we went from okay to hating it, depending on who you asked. I'm kind of more in the closer range of I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. Right? Like, so I'm kind of right in the middle. I didn't like it enough to where when I left, I didn't even bother getting one of the popcorn buckets. Like, that's how much it didn't mean to me. Like, I was just like, I was so disappointed walking out of it, because it felt like you had such potential here. You could have gone, and there's just so much wrong with it at the same time with what little is right. I only remember laughing like 4 times maybe. The Bob character and his little pinhead minions are probably the funniest part of the movie, and you've seen most of their shit in the trailers. Yeah, I wish I could recommend it. I really do, but I can't. I'd say you're better off waiting for streaming, because it looks like a straight to streaming series.
How much gay crap was in it?
Not much, really. If anything, like I said, the only closest thing to a woke aspect to the film, and this is where I got to tell you, Grace is kind of not wrong. There is this ongoing thing with all of the men in the movie are a piece of shit, and they in some way or shape or form are abusing the women they're with. The only 2 men in the movie who actually come out of it unscathed are Charles, aka Jeffrey Jones's character, who's dead in the movie, because that's in the trailer, so that's not even a spoiler. And his character's still technically in the movie, but for those who don't know, the real actor was convicted, did his time, all this stuff over something to do with a 14-year-old. Okay, so his presence in the film feels like a compromise between Tim Burton and the studio about like how the character Charles is treated like a good father, but what they do to the actual physical person themselves feels like, yeah, you had to do that just as like a fuck you to the actor. So like, it's kind of a weird thing in the movie. And then that's a big problem there. So like, that takes up a big portion of the storyline. And then the Monica Bellucci storyline is almost forgotten, right? She gets introduced, shows up maybe 2-3 times throughout the entire film, and that's it. And her storyline either should have been the focal point or it should have been left for a 3rd sequel. That's the problem you have here, because the core of this movie should be the 3 generations of women. And the only other man that actually gets out unscathed, I didn't tell you before, was Beetlejuice. Believe it or not. He's one of the lesser of the piece of shits in the movie. And a lot of it's by proxy, so it's kind of a But otherwise, yeah, like every other person that is a male in this movie is a piece of shit. That's the only big kind of close to woke thing in the movie. But there isn't like a big new diverse cast or anything like that. There isn't any overt, sexuality. They didn't replace Otho's character with some Blasian gay guy or anything like that. So, I mean, there's nothing like that in here. I wish there was, because then I could flat out tell people like this movie sucks because ABC. No, it just sucks because it's a shitty movie. Too much shit going on. They really didn't. It needed a good rewrite. Unfortunately, there's already too many rewrites on it. I don't even know if this is the direction I would have went for a sequel. The Beetlejuice wife story was the only interesting part of the whole movie, really. And it's hardly in the movie. Yeah, so I mean, I wish I could recommend it. That's it.
Yeah, well, thanks for the review, if not the recommendation. That's too bad. I know that you were greatly looking forward to this. But while we are on the topics of reviews, and before we move on to the topics proper of the day, Mr. Chato, how are you enjoying the Rings of Power?
Getting worse. I actually, okay, so I'm trying to approach this as well. Basically, the way I approach Star Trek 2 is that once you make the commitment, or once you make the decision that it's not Star Trek anymore, does it stand as just a show, right? Forget about all the lore mining and complaining about black Harfoots and shit like that. If you can just do that, does the series stand up? And it doesn't. It's very frustrating from my background point of view, because there were rules in writing series TV. Not that it's completely lost in like Game of Thrones, things like that, or a lot of the Sopranos, but I mean that's old. But it's not so difficult to follow a couple of very simple rules. Hire a bunch of actors that are going to connect with the viewer. And quite frankly, everyone but Sauron, the guy playing Sauron, is completely uninteresting to me. So they're going to be, I mean, I am assuming that they're uninteresting to the audience at large, because what was it? They lost 50% of their viewership from
Yeah,
the end of the previous terrible season. It
yeah,
just shows. See, that drives me nuts, and this is not just an ROP problem, it's a streaming problem, is that they have no idea that television is about bringing your friends into your living room. And the analogy that I use is every Christmas, your uncle comes over and puts the lampshade on his head because he thinks it's funny. And he laughs outrageously, but you love your uncle and you're laughing. It's that level of intimacy and friendliness that you're looking for in TV. You're not bringing superstars into your home. You're bringing James Garner and people like that. James Falk, Robert Falk. Anyway, I can't remember his first name. Columbo. I mean, you're bringing these
Peter Falk.
Peter Falk. Thank you. Speaking of Hungarians, into your living room, and it's Rings of Power just didn't cast for that. I think at some point they must have thought that they're going to be competing with Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings for Tolkien supremacy, which was a dumb thing to do right from the get-go. And I think they're suffering from it. So they're suffering from the fact that they're dealing with a bunch of storylines that they got to tie up from the first year, which were awful. It's way too complex, way too many storylines. We're not delving into the individual lives of the characters that maybe we want to dive into. They just keep expanding on it and maybe throwing in some adventure moments, like finally, Galadriel is fighting off a whole bunch of orcs in this, which is hilarious. I mean, that's a big problem. They really needed to deal with Galadriel, but they found a way to have her, ride off on her own, just so she could be surrounded by orcs who just sort of like it's sort of like that in the Star Trek, not Star Trek, Star Wars, the middle movie, where all the red bad guys stood around waiting to be hit by Rey. And you go, okay, you can see the stunt guys just sort of waiting. Okay, when is she going to turn around and get to me? It's the same kind of fight with the orcs and Galadriel. So the staging's horrible. The costumes are a little bit better. They found a better drapery source for them. The sets are bigger, better. Cinematography, if they're not in the dark, is better, but it's boring. I don't care about the stories.
Can you, about that, something that I really struggled with in season 1, that I actually had to remind myself in front of each episode, and even as I was watching, was what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
I actively had to remind myself, what is the story? Who are these people? What do they want? What are they doing? We are now past the halfway point of season 2. It's 8 episodes, 4 are in release. Now when we are halfway through the story, can you just summarize real quickly, 4 episodes in? I'm going to give you an impossible challenge here.
Wow. Well, we've lost the main goal of the first season, which was Galadriel going off to kill Sauron. I mean, that was the story in season 1. This one here, although they're not cracking open as many mystery boxes, that was part of the problem with season 1, is that had no story. They just introduced one mystery box after another, where we now had to wait to find out what was in the box. We are still remaining. We still have that one big one, is the wizard. Is that Gandalf? Or who that's still a mystery box that they're keeping it from us, and then they added this other story of another dark wizard.
Oh, wow, so they still haven't
no, okay. They still haven't solved that. So there's just no story. There's I mean, there's moments which are okay. The Elendil, the black elf, with the estranged son of the woman that he was stooping, who the actress decided not to come back to the show because she was smart. And then they had this a pyre where they burned her body and he was weeping. Although he's much better. He's more I'm going to put myself on a limb here. He's actually much more interesting, not fawning or going after this white woman. I mean, that was just an absolutely horrific storyline in the first series. He's vaguely interesting. He's kind of elfish. But then, so nothing happens, although we do get to see not Harfoots, but another band of people like Harfoots. What did they called themselves? The something Brooks. They're kind of the precursors to the Bandybrooks or something. But this is a multiracial hobbit-like people, which I don't want to get into it too much, but again, this is what the showrunners want, which completely, in some ways, takes you out of the show, because
it's nonsensical. I mean, the problem is that within the fantasy world like this, when you don't have jet travel and things like that, where you can't just cross worlds like this, when you have an island nation like Numenor and they're cut off from all of society, and yet there's one black lady and she's queen, it's like, where did she come from? Where'd this happen? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, just from a world building perspective, and it's just crap. And then you start to think about it, because if they just did it in that one, maybe you wouldn't bother. But then they have the one black elf, and then the one black Harfoot, and then the one, and it's just like,
oh no, they have a whole town of black and Asian,
well, they do now,
and South Asian. Good. This one community.
Oh, this is new.
The rock dwellers, and I've talked about it before. Is that in that time, and even now, but especially in that time, sure, make a whole bunch of black elves, but they should all be black. And this one, one community should all look like, white Finnish people. So they look like
this is fantasy. Since this is fantasy, why don't we do it like Forgotten Realms does with the Drizzt, and where they're kind of dark bluish. Why do they have to equally mirror human races every single time? That you start to think about it, and then because it's so prominent in the show, you're thinking about that rather than watching the show, because it's slow and that's in your face full time. It drives me crazy. I only got to episode 6. I tried to start watching this so I could start reviewing it, because I figured, I'm a writer, I should be reviewing the Tolkien knockoff thing here. This would make sense. And I just could. I started it at the beginning of July. We're in the middle. I got to episode 6. They're so difficult to watch.
Yeah, they
Nothing happens.
Nothing. No, it's all set up. Right?
It's terrible. And you're right about the casting is a bit like that's so I didn't even think about that till now. But these are such unlikable people. You can't relate to them, any of them. And
No.
it's really sad. Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, as a whoring network guy, I don't necessarily have to. I might not have gone for a strict Tolkien adherence, but if this was happening in the in my era in the early '90s, I would have handed the show off to Aaron Spelling and just turn it into this fantastic potboiler of families attacking families and children coming out of wedlock and bitchy.
So Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, but even more Aaron Spelling. Because have fun with it.
So basically, Game of Thrones with Tori Spelling. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I liked I liked Legend of the Seeker back in the day. I mean, it was a little on the campy side, and there were stupid parts to it. Don't get me wrong, but it was entertaining, and at least the characters were kind of likable. And even though I actually liked Sword of Truth quite a bit, I read those books back in the day. It did not do honor to that, just like this doesn't do honor to Tolkien. But it kind of actually worked okay as a TV series, even on the campy CW end, just because there were likable characters and stuff happened. You didn't have to blow $1 billion budget to just make a show kind of work.
Right. And their biggest problem is trying to straddle the lore part. They've borrowed a whole crap ton of dialogue from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movie, like just sprinkled all over the place in other people's mouths. You're going, okay, that's wild. But I mean, the map is huge. You don't necessarily, and you can feel free to disagree with me, people out there in YouTube land, but you've got humans. They don't have to be the Numenor people. You could have another whole group, make it up. There are parallel peoples in the world. There could be parallel peoples that Tolkien never got to. Then you have complete license to do what you want. So, I mean, they're doing that with the Harfoots. The problem is the Harfoots are horrific, like just beyond dreadful. But that actually was the right idea, to tell you the truth. They just couldn't execute it. So
I can't wait to catch up based on your review. I'm so excited to get 6 more episodes of 72 minutes long each. My hottest take of all this is if TV was 42 minutes for drama like it used to be, and all of these were just 42-minute episodes, it probably wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. And with mini climaxes, pretending that they're splitting them with ad breaks.
Right.
And they've done that. It does work. And they've done experiments with it on streaming where they actually wrote them with ad breaks. Oh, you know which series has the fake ad breaks? Is season 3 of Picard. If you watch that, it's got the natural 10-minute ad.
And it's not so much that they're fake, Paul. It's because they're planned in case for when they go to for people who are doing the non-pay version, that's when their commercials will pop in.
Sure, but
when they're free for that.
But write it like that. I mean, you want these mini climaxes that keep you, and then just instead of going to a commercial or going to black, you just go to the next scene. But they have found that is actually the best way to write these streaming series shows, as if they're a network show.
Yeah, it seems to be a problem. Like I do this for my own work in that comic books are typically 22 pages when they're under Marvel and DC. And you technically don't have to be under constraints when you're doing it independently or whatever. You can write it however you want, right? And that's what's happened. We've got a generation of streaming writers who have come up over the last 15, 20 years who have no constraints. They don't have time constraints. Sometimes they don't even have budget constraints. And when you don't have constraints as a writer, unless you're just like a completely autistic uber genius, it's always it ends up being a bad thing. Constraints actually tend to help writing. And when that 42-minute, the ad break, all of those things just gave a structure where at least you would have something basic that you knew was going to work because it has historically always worked. And they can't do that these days. And especially when they're trying to subvert expectations on top of that, It's like every element, even down to like the runtime, is subverted, and it just makes everything unwatchable. And I think the same problem, Tom, with your Beetlejuice review sounds much the same way. You said it was bloated like that too. It's like, well, why didn't they just like make a movie that kind of had that comedy constraints of the '80s comedy movie? If they just copied that, it probably would have been better, right?
Most likely, yeah. That's definitely one of the problems that Script and I touched on last night, is that these two guys that came in and wrote, they worked on Wednesday, right? Like, and other stuff like that. So it does. This show feels like a 6 or 8 episode streaming series crammed into an hour and 45-minute movie. So, which is the opposite of what we have with the problem with the MCU stuff, is which it always feels like a 2-hour movie spread out over 6 or 8 episodes. So, like, in this case, I mean, yeah, that's part of the problem, is that a lot of the writers have been conditioned to certain standards and ways of doing things now that, like, I think Paul's right. Like, if you threw one of these modern writers in a room of like sitcom writers, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves. They'd be completely lost. And those guys would be just like way ahead of the game, because the old school guys knew how to get together, do an entire season of 24 episodes, right? And these guys could just pump them out. And nowadays, you'd come up to a studio, and I remember when we heard Daredevil was going to be 22 episodes or whatever it was, or 20 episodes, everybody's like, really? Wow. That's a first. Like, we're actually getting a streaming series that's a full season? Wow. So, like, I don't understand why they got away from that, other than, but whatever. I know that you're bringing up a different point, so go ahead, back to your point, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, it felt like it was written by streaming writers.
The other thing that a lot of streaming shows don't have are things like B and C plots. It's funny. Too much is happening. I'm going to say something weird here. Too much is happening, and they're not sitting down and letting any of the individual stories and the characters develop. So,
Right.
the joke I had in my review of the first 2 shows is that there should have been a B plot of Galadriel going out getting a perm, and it looks awful, and the elves are laughing at her, and then she has to deal with the embarrassment of the perm. So, I mean, that's facetious. But we're missing those human moments because they don't do any B plots. We don't find out about these individuals. In fact, they've got way too much story happening. We don't want to necessarily slow things down on purpose, but I learned this from watching and actually talking with the great Kreskin. Do you know the magician Kreskin?
Can't say I do.
So he had a show that was shot in Ottawa. He's a mentalist. He would go to a place and have the people who hired him hide his check anywhere in the city, and he would get into a cab with them, and he would always find his check. So he was just an absolutely, I mean, I don't know if he's still alive or not, but a brilliant guy. So I talked with him once when he was shooting in Canada, and he said bad magicians do a whole crap ton of tricks in a half an hour. I do 1 trick in a half an hour. And that's a phenomenal lesson. And if you watched his shows, he would just dress it up and drag it out and make it important, and have maybe some failures, some successes. And I'm feeling it, I mean, the usual mentalist stuff, right? But that's what good magicians do. They can take one trick, and they do it for a much longer time than the younger magicians. So this is what I'm seeing, is these people are just throwing so much shit out there without developing any of these stories enough for us to enjoy them. Now, this is different with people talk about, oh, there's too much talk in Rings of Power. But if you take the latest Game of Thrones show, the what's it called? House of Dragon. House of Dragon. There's lots of talk, but it's fantastic. And there's consequences and there's stakes. That's the other thing with this stupid show with Rings of Power. There's no stakes. They haven't picked the one bad guy. They've added now another bad guy, the wizard. They've changed Sauron over from a big saltwater taffy monster over to Anatar. I think it's Anatar, which actually is in the books. And who are we fighting? Like it's stupid. Oh, and they've made the orcs family people. Now we're feeling badly that when they die, because we now know that they have a mother and they take care of their baby orcs and things like that, except the mother's milk tastes like asphalt. But other than that, they're wonderful people. It's the stupidest show in the world.
They're just the hardworking immigrant orcs who want to, devour humans in peace, guys.
Yes.
Stop being bigots. Jeez.
That's right. Yeah.
What's interesting is that you mentioned this in context with House of the Dragon. I've seen a campaign on X, which looks like it's either bots or it's coordinated somehow to state Rings of Power is better than House of the Dragon. And I've seen like woke X Twitter lighting up with this, like dozens of comments saying the exact same thing. They don't go into detail as to how or why, but that statement's being said quite a bit. And I'm like, what? Like, where's this coming from? Is this Amazon's advertising campaign?
Well, I mean, I've talked with people who love the year one, and I just listened to them, and I didn't go, "Oh, you stupid cows." But I resisted that. But I listened. What was it they liked about it? And there's nothing out there that people can't like. The situation is it's all about numbers. Is there enough to justify the project? That's really what it's all about. There's an audience for everything. I'm always shocked. I'm going, wow, this comic book really sucked. And then you find the people who love it. Okay.
A few. I mean, like they're tiny though. I mean,
yeah. No. I'm
laughing at the Save the Acolyte petition, which I signed, by the way. Hashtag Save the Acolyte. I would love to have another content cycle of that. It is. It's my favorite show. It's fantastic.
Let's actually transition into that now when you bring it up.
Petition is what's it at these days?
I don't know.
Acolyte. Let me look at this.
Not nearly enough. That is for certain.
I have bought the Sith yoga pants.
I've brought it up, guys, so I can I will present the petition, and I will urge the chat to save the Acolyte, because for our YouTube channels, saving the Acolyte is probably the most important thing you could do. I mean, we will have great content again for another season if this comes back. Only 69,000 signatures in 2 weeks. This is crazy. Now, if you remember,
100,000 over in the first couple of days for it to have any chance at all. This only goes to show why they canceled. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
No worries. I wanted to finish this point before, like, Grums, the video game guy on X, decided that he wanted to see like some hotter like outfits in Stellar Blade, right? And remember. Just that Stellar Blade's a video game on PS5. If you guys didn't see this whole controversy, and he got over 100,000 signatures for that. Like, and he's just some dude on Twitter asking for more booba in a video game. That's it. 100,000. That, like, his influence and reach is bigger than Disney. And remember, this was amplified by IGN, Collider, all the big entertainment news outlets there, the whole Access Media, all pimped this petition. Grums on Twitter, just a video game guy, has bigger influence than all of those companies combined and all of the fans of the Acolyte combined. That's wild.
It doesn't surprise me though.
We're winning. We're literally winning. That's all.
Because people trust him, because he has shown himself to be trustworthy. Whereas Disney and all of the other establishment chills, who on paper should be bigger, they have, for all intents and purposes, done the exact opposite. They have shown that they are not to be trusted in any way, shape, or form, which only means that whenever the actual people and the actual audience, when there is some kind of way to gauge an actual opinion, the establishment is going to lose.
Well, and that kind of
That's what
leads
we
us
saw
right,
there.
into our main story, actually.
Yeah, indeed.
Because, I mean, this goes back to the whole rewriting Ripley thing, the same thing. Like, I was saying this before, like, this whole thing with that one dude who had that quote-unquote viral tweet going after Gary, and then there was another one just like it going after, or Gary of Nerdrotic, and another one just like it going after Critical Drinker and such. I said, this feels like it's calculated. You know, like there's something going on here, and you're right, John. I think we're in the thralls, or whatever you want to call it, of what I've been dubbing the final re. So what is the final re? The final re is their last hope, their last bit of power they have left, that they're basically screaming into the wind, trying to stop us and shut us up and silence us any way, shape, or form they can, right? Even if it's just taking away the monetary side of things, right? Because that's what the more latest argument is. Well, we're not saying they should be turned off of YouTube, but they just shouldn't be able to make money off this stuff. You know, that's their latest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
This is pretty funny, and just watching just how they push so hard. There was a big coordinated push this week to hit as many YouTube channels as possible, and watching YouTube just shut them down made me laugh so hard. They took such an L this week.
How did that
great.
work?
Yeah, let's basically just cover this from the grounds up for those that
Sure.
haven't been on X to cover it, because basically what started this is that there are these activists on X, and these are the same people that were running this rewriting Ripley, as Tom was alluding to earlier here, that years ago went after a certain number of YouTubers, us included, trying to get them all shut down then, because they were quote unquote right wing and toxic and all kinds of stuff like that, to no avail, because however much they may dislike all our content, and we were relatively far down on their shit list, but we were still there, which I'm proud of. No, there's no actual hate. None of the channels that they cite actually go and attack any of the actors that you see on screen or anything like that. No, it's exclusively criticizing the creative decisions that have been made by the creatives in charge and the showrunners. That is what is being criticized. It has always been criticized. And then excellent arguments have been presented for why this is wrong. That means this content is not hateful. It does not come from a place of hate. It is genuine criticism. That is the side that YouTube has always taken on these matters. Everything we and Ryan Kinnell and Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker have ever said is legal for that reason. It is not based in hate. It is based in love for the property, and we criticize what the property is doing wrong from a purely creative point of view. And then, of course, some people are going to say, oh, it's just hate. You don't like black people. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's the direction.
There's inconsistencies in their argument as to why. Yeah,
exactly. And anyway, earlier this week, they then tried again, and they appealed to Team YouTube, which is the support function for YouTubers on X, directly, arguing that a specific set of channels, most notably Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, and Ryan Kinnell, were engaging in hate speak, and that the Star Wars fan community would stand for it no longer, and these channels needed to be monetized. And then they had made a clip show of out of context clips that still weren't hateful, and that is exactly what Team YouTube found, because obviously we, Nerdrotic, Ryan Kinnell, all of these people, people are watching us in the YouTube side of things, and the reason we are still able to operate is because we are on the right side of the border, and we always have been. That's why we are still able to deliver content. And the moment that we feel we are too close to an edge, and then it's still not related to hate, then it's a matter of something else in their terms and conditions, we go straight over to that green place, you know?
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of like how it's been done. So we have always abided by the rules and regulations, and that is exactly what Team YouTube found as well. And so they answered these team rewriting Ripley people that, as however disappointed you may be by this, no rules have been violated, so the channels will remain monetized and no videos will be taken down. Obviously, because no rules have been violated. And they weren't happy with that response. On the contrary, now they threatened to go after YouTube directly and advertisers.
Which is funny because a lot of these folks that are doing this are actually violating terms of service on both YouTube and X by doing a lot of the things they're doing right now, people are pointing out. In fact, some of the LawTube guys had even pointed out that Gary and a lot of the other guys would be well within their rights to sue. So, yeah, this is not a good look for them on their behalf. So I don't know if they want to push it much more, but my question is, do you guys think this is an orchestrated effort from inside Lucasfilm? I'm starting to think so, because this is where I've been going with this for a while. This is what I think is going on. They're in a desperate situation right now. They have no fans of Star Wars anymore. The only ones they have left are the wokey wokes, and they're not enough to buy anything. So what is going on here? Is this where we're at? Am I right? Are we in the final Is this their last ditch effort to try and destroy us?
Well, let me put out a great conspiracy theory moment. I think there is a thread between all this stuff, the stuff that's happening in comics, the bringing in of gender biased content, the student protests regarding the war in the Middle East. All these things are connected as far as I'm concerned. It's a group of people that are funded by left-leaning organizations that are fomenting anti, and this is going to sound crazy that this is I'm saying that this is part of the disinformation campaign against the West, but I think it is. There's too many marches that have to be funded. This stuff has to be centrally managed, and I think it's just part and parcel of they're all connected. All of this crazy shit that's happening at schools and comics, on TV, it's all part of the same
cultural revolution is the term we're looking for.
Yeah, it just makes it's too many coincidences, and it's always the same people. This reminds me of that video that a Russian spy that escaped and made and lived in Canada talked about the warning of
Yuri Bezmenov.
Fabulous, famous video of just what the Soviets were planning for North Americans, because we're gullible, and this is just all part of the gullible strategy.
Yeah, it's 100% coordinated. It's 100% run by these marketing firms. I've uncovered this in kind of the Neil Gaiman situation, where I noticed nobody was covering it, and there was a lot of posts that were flooding X and flooding other social media platforms that were just talking about the Sandman season 2 hype builds, and they were all basically the same thing. They were all bots doing this. If you don't follow the account Master of the TDS exposes how Disney hires bots to push these messages, and of course, Rings of Power has similar. There's a PR crisis marketing firm that runs a lot of this stuff, and I forgot their name. I really wish I had it right now, because I would sound so smart. But I did research into them, and they do push this kind of thing intentionally. And you saw them they made a video about this stuff. They tied a lot of it with Geeks and Gamers to the Rose Tico situation in 2016, which was, again, another marketing push for The Last Jedi, where they said that the actress, what's her name? Tran? Kelly
Marie Tran.
Yeah.
I sound smart.
You do. Yeah, that's right. She was taking, quote, hate and abuse online, and it was all Geeks and Gamers' fault. Like, they tried to do this to them back then too. And he actually played a video in conjunction with that and posted it to X, where he's like, look, that actress seems like a nice lady. We have nothing against her whatsoever. Disney just made a very, very bad character with Rose Tico, and we're just criticizing that. And he says it straight out, like he doesn't want any hate directed at the actress or whatever. And nobody really is interested in Amanda Stenberg personally. She's trying to make it about herself. She's been done that this entire time with her
Yep.
stupid Instagram videos and screeching at the alt-right in another video. You know, she's trying to make it about herself, but if she didn't do that, nobody would actually care about her whatsoever. And actually, that's what she fears the most, because these are all a bunch of narcissists.
Oh yeah, and this is not some poor black girl. She was raised in a very prestigious family.
Right.
She's not lacking for money. And as far as the trans story, what's her name? From Star Wars, the Asian woman. I mean, don't dress her in a potato sack. I mean,
Kelly Marie Tran, yeah, she's a
Kelly Marie
beautiful
Tran.
woman.
Sorry, really
And-
nice
and-
person. Really,
And you know why they did that? Why they dressed her in a potato sack? Because we heard some behind the scenes rumors of why they did.
which was
That no one may outshine Kathleen Kennedy's self-insert Wonder Ray. And there was a worry that if they didn't uglify Kelly Marie Tran, then many would find that Wonder Ray was a little bit too plain standing next to her.
The only thing I wondered about Ray is why she wasn't getting with Finn, because he clearly had it hard on for her. And then she turns around and gets with the bad boy, just like every stupid bitch.
Yeah, that's the story of my life.
Well, no, it makes no sense, because like the whole first
like
movie, Finn's like trying to hold her hand, trying to protect her. And most of his lines are Ray. Like,
listen.
and then you get to the second film, and all of a sudden he's supposed to have this love thing with Rose Tico.
No, then he went to Ray. I mean, like, we won't get into it, but Finn is like, of all the badly written characters in those three movies, he was the worst. They could never figure out who he liked, who he had the boner for. I mean, it was just like the dumbest thing. Anyway, yeah. Who do you love?
Anyway, that was a sidetrack.
It was a sidetrack. But, you know, I mean, Amanda Stenberg is not an unattractive woman. And I would imagine that if they dressed her up like she did in her diss video, it would have been a little bit better. But the thing is, too, that she was not, again, don't hire people that the audience is sitting at home watching the TV is not going to be interested in.
Well,
Like
the problem with Amanda is she Barbara Streisand herself. Nobody gave a shit about her. I don't remember anybody.
No one gave a shit about her character.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't remember anybody bringing up anything about her. The only thing I remember anybody saying was that she didn't really do anything to differentiate between the twins. That was the only time I ever remember her coming up in any form of conversation prior to that. She's the one who come out there and came at us, right? So if you want to go about, like, you know, what we were just talking about with, like, you know, as far as personal attacks on anybody, if we've ever talked about anybody, whether it's Amanda, Brie, anybody, it's when they have come out and done personal attacks on us first.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, and the fake story around Moses Ingram, where there were never receipts.
Another great example, yeah.
There were never any receipts as to just what kind of hate that that was directed.
It was the same. This is one thing that I did appreciate with Amanda Stenberg, because just to clarify that with her, she also had spoken about all of the tons and tons of hate that the cast had received. We heard all of these stories, so much hate against the cast. And there's no receipts, and there is absolutely no hate that anyone can see in the videos that any of us have done. And
if anything, we all said we feel sorry for most of them.
Yeah, there's not 1 ounce of hate. On the contrary, there's support of the cast. And then in that stupid 8-minute video that she did while twirling her hair and looking at the opposite direction, being all Valley Girl and stuff like that, that's when it came out. Oh, by hate, she meant criticism against the show. Criticism against the bad writing and everything. That was hate. She interpreted that as hate against her because she's black.
So, yeah, and I did a video around Moses Ingram where I said, I don't blame Moses, and I don't blame Ewan McGregor, although that was pathetic, the sad in the car video. But my biggest issue is that Disney consistently lets their actors hang out to dry, and no one at Disney Corp says anything. They hide behind the actors as they send them out to look like fools. And I don't understand why the actors persist in doing Disney corporate's work.
Yeah, what I see on most of this stuff is I'd say people are way more critical of the Kathleen Kennedys and the Leslie
Oh,
Headlands of the world who are out there who are like are clearly, you know, they're Bond villains inside of Disney, right? And when the cast, like, I mean, people are very sympathetic, especially, I mean, with the Acolyte. I mean, everybody kind of likes the Asian guy Jedi. They're just kind of like, gosh, it's sad that he's wasted in this role, right?
Can we say one more thing as well? I have always maintained that they did to him what was done to Rose Tico, who they uglified by dressing her in a potato sack and making her look obese. Him, they made look like a lesbian woman. I mean, he looks so
Very
much
true.
better in his older, like when he's young, but in the contemporary version of it, like I kid you not, the first time I saw him, I thought he was just one of the many other lesbians on their show. I was like, oh wait, that's a dude, because with the haircut and everything, they make him look like another lesbian.
Well, the good news is they failed in canceling our friends. So congratulations, Nerderotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kinnell, Star Wars Theory. Keep making money, my friends. We appreciate your hard work. Thank you for your service.
I would suggest that the hot YouTube money-making number right now, if you want to completely change topics, is do a Caitlin Clark WNBA video. That's the hot sauce right now.
Still, like, that's been going on for a while, hasn't it?
Oh my God, it's just all over YouTube if you're into basketball.
I just
and
don't want to cover women's basketball or ever think about women's basketball.
No. I mean, like, and no one in your channel is going to be interested in hearing you cover it. I mean,
and the funny thing is, you'll still be accused of being hateful if you do that.
That's true.
That's right. I just watch all the black male football stars watching out for Caitlin. That to me is hilarious. I'm enjoying that. But that's a different topic. So, but I'm just suggesting it. If you're looking for a new line of income to get on YouTube, then go over to the WNBA. That's still hot.
It's good advice for the chat.
Nothing in the WNBA is hot, Paul.
Except for Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hall. They're hot.
I got a bat signal. That's more. All right, we got super chats here. Let's see what's going on with the super chats, Andre. Why don't we?
Indeed, let's do that.
Because we have a very generous donation from Staccato DDS, who gifted 10 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you so much. Stay tuned, members, because I'm going to be doing more commentaries coming up here. In fact, 6 reminded me that there's a Friday the 13th coming up next week. So, yeah. And then let's get to the top here. We got Packing Protons here, if you want to take this one, Andre, real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Packing Protons, one says for $5. Here's a question. If Elon takes an offered position in Trump's government as an employee, does that preclude him from a Disney hostile takeover? Yeah, I'm not American, but I would say that being a government employee and the Speaker of the House hasn't prevented Nancy Pelosi's husband from being one of the most successful stockbrokers of all time. But as we know, there is no equality for the law. So I guess that may be a position. If only we had someone from America on the board, on the panel here. But before we get to them, Paul, as a Canadian, do you think that's going to be an issue? Could Elon being appointed to a Trump cabinet get in the way of him doing a hostile takeover on Disney?
Well, you know, my overall view on Canadians talking about American issues in politics is we have not our country, not our president, not our Elon. Although he did go to school in Canada. at I believe Queen's University. So we
See,
do have
there
some,
you go. You can claim that. You are
we
now
can-
involved.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right. We're not completely, our hands are not completely clean of Elon. We have some taint there. Well, I don't know. I don't think Elon is going to have take over Disney. I think that's the dumbest thing in the world. His right now, his pressing issue is getting those 2 astronauts off the International Space Station and rubbing Boeing's nose in it. That to me, I think, is his most pressing issue.
Yeah, so basically, to stick it to Boeing for going all in on DEI, and now they can't get the astronauts out to space again.
That's correct.
Impressive going right there.
So that's my thought. I think he
As far as I know, I don't think it would stop him, but I'm not up to speed on all the legalities around that.
Well, it's like we talked about, would Apple take over Disney? And I work for Apple, and not that I know the management right now, but Apple takes over companies primarily for their technology and for their talent. What talent is there at Disney?
Yeah, I think it would be a different mission, but
it would be to make all that stuff
John,
exclusive to Apple. Yeah.
Yeah. What say you, John? You think that might be an issue? Would you like to see Elon clean up Disney the way he?
I think the man can only do so much. To be honest, who would I like to take over Disney for real? Maybe Tom. Yeah. Yeah, I just think I mean there's a limited capacity. I mean, Elon's got his rocket thing going on. He's running Tesla. He's got Twitter. I just don't see him actually being able to oversee stuff on that kind of level and doing it all. There's just too many different fields, and unless he clones himself, there's just not enough time in the day at this juncture.
How do you know he hasn't already done that?
Probably has.
He probably has. Yeah.
Here's what I have to say about the Disney thing. Have you ever wanted to see Goofy face the Predator? Yeah.
That's probably just a matter of time, because I mean, if you've seen what they're doing in the comics, like now you have like Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff. So
Gosh, I can't see him in the woods.
so this is probably a matter of time.
You know what? I would much prefer Bugs Bunny against the Predator. Duck season.
Yeah, but that's Warner Brothers.
No, I'm just saying though. But if we're going to conceptualize something, duck season.
Yeah, with Daffy and Donald.
Yeah.
They did Archie. They did Archie versus the Predator already, didn't they?
Oh, did
What?
they really? Wow.
What?
Yeah, Archie versus the Predator exists.
Archie's been everywhere, though. Speaking of everywhere, we have Yellow Flash here. How you doing, Yellow Flash?
Hello.
Hey, greetings.
Just trying to look for a good spot to bring you in there.
That's okay.
What's
We're
up, Flash?
here
How you
now.
feeling?
Welcome.
A lot better. A lot better. Still a little stuffy, though, which sucks.
You sound a lot better, though.
I feel a lot better, too, Tom. Thank you.
So we're just going through some super chats here. We just got off the Amanda Stenberg thing, but Packing Protons was asking about Elon if he gets a position in Trump's government and possible Disney takeover, but
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I said the takeover thing is probably very unlikely.
I don't even think he has the money to buy Disney. You have to,
I don't think it would be just him, though.
Disney's
I think it would
not
be
just the entertainment division. You have to keep keep in mind the assets that they have, which, I mean, is pretty extensive. Just that and land. I mean, they own like a county in Florida.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
in
if
California.
anything,
I don't even know how big the one in California is. And then
You
there's
need,
also
like-
some in Europe. And, well,
you need
I
like
don't think
Mike
they
Pence,
own-
or not Pence, Jesus Christ, Peltz, and you need a bunch of those guys together to do it is what you'd need. And even then, that's if the government lets it happen, too. That's the other side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see
But
it.
let's move on here. We have a few more.
We got
have
Rubu
more
Hoove, who
sources up as well.
gifted a membership and has been a member for 3 months. Thank you for that. Dr. Long Dongler sends in £1.99 to remind you to pound that like button if you haven't already. Patrick Robinson sends in $4.99, says, has anyone seen the look of the new Wolfman? Yes. It is horrible.
Uh-oh.
I'm sure he's going to look better than that in the movie, but I don't see why this is the look they went with. Yeah, let me see if I can find this here. This is horrendous.
Pound that like button like Leslie Headland used to watch Harvey Weinstein pound is
Oh.
rape victims.
Good one.
Oh, did you see my latest meme that went viral? Well, viral-ish, I guess, for me. Let me see if I can bring it up here. Well, I'm looking for 12 things at once. This one's gone off the charts already. Well, I'm looking for the other picture.
Enabler.
Imagine making a show so bad that being Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant is your second biggest mistake.
Well, she probably wouldn't have gotten that show if she wasn't. So
Probably,
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
I feel
She's
like
an
everybody who
enabler.
gets into these things at this point has sold their souls at some point, or somebody's got blackmail on them, so they're controlled. I'm so jaded now. I think there's zero organic anything that happens.
Did you see that Cardi B pregnant photo shoot and it says pedophile in the fucking brick wall?
No,
Dude,
Really?
I'm not even kidding. Hold on.
oh my god.
I didn't know we were
Okay,
at the
so
point
here's
now
the
where we're
Wolfman.
sexualizing pregnant women. It's like fucking.
They've done that for a while.
Oh yeah, sure.
What was the
me
big one they
see.
did a while back with that?
So this is the new Blumhouse
They're trying to
Wolfman.
say they're trying to say that this is a mistake, and there's no mistakes here. Everything is intentional with these people. Hold on, I'll get it. Give me a second.
It was like
I
that
thought I had it on my tongue.
Balenciaga thing a couple years
She
ago.
supports them.
Yeah, it's all tied together.
So to Patrick's super chat here, here's that Wolfman, I guess is what you call it.
Yuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
What?
Got it.
This is this a joke?
No.
Here's the thing to keep in mind, though. Here's the thing to keep in mind. Whenever you see an outfit or something that is supposed to be on screen in practice, it's going to look like shit.
Is
In
that
reality.
the Spirit Halloween costume?
Always, and without
This was at
exception.
Halloween Horror Nights. This is the new Blumhouse. This is the new design of the new Blumhouse Wolfman movie. 'Cause
It'll
remember,
look-
they took
it'll
over
look
the Dark
better.
Universe.
It'll
A
look
little
better
bit,
if
but I doubt it's going to
CGI.
look much better than that.
Probably it's going to be this design, and I think that this design on screen, it's not going to be that bad. And if we're completely honest, if we look at werewolf designs over the last, 20 years in particular, they have been pretty darn bad.
All right,
Ever
so
since the onset of CGI.
in the middle, it's in the white.
Yeah, I
It's
see
not
it.
the. It says pedophile. Do you see it? If you can, I can get one that's zoomed in.
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
can
I
see
see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So she's getting a lot of shit for this and trying to say everyone's crazy, but it fucking says pedophile.
And what are they trying to say? That it's just like it's not actually there. It's a trick of the light or something. I mean, what?
It was an
What's their-
accident, apparently. Oh,
Huh.
no. We didn't
Wow,
mean to
some
do a
accidents.
photo shoot in front of the word pedophile. Nobody noticed it.
So who's that on the bike?
Cardi B.
Oh, Cardi B. Oh yeah. Well, she's a gentle soul.
Inside there is Cardi C.
C-section.
Jeez.
Oh, that was a pretty funny joke.
So that's interesting, I thought.
Yeah, it all needs to be purged. That's what
Yeah,
I'm here for.
Cardi B did
Purge
that
the
really
entire-
family-friendly video with Megan Thee Stallion. That was
was
really
disgusting.
gentle. That was just a wonderful Disney-like love song. That was
That was the music industry in a nutshell, wasn't it?
yes.
And then we got Big Daddy MRI here, who's been here for 39 freaking months. 39 months. Wow. Thank you, Big Daddy MRI. He's also a wrench. Says, I'm here lurking and working. Thanks, Andre and Tom, for making this channel great every time you're on the air. Great discussions and reviews. And thank you so much for your support and help, Big Daddy. Also a huge supporter of Mead Radio as well. So thank you for that. SDR Red Wolf sends in 5 and says, at least we now know who financed Sundance's Paramount purchase. Oracle's Larry Ellison sent link to Andre and Tom over X. Yeah, I don't think there was any real... I think we already kind of knew this, didn't we?
We did know it was his dad, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It was
So, I mean,
that obviously, like, David Ellison. He's like, Dad, I want to be a movie mogul. Give me money. Give me give me $100 million to set up a company. Okay, son, just stay out of trouble. But yeah, so just like, thanks for the confirmation, but it's like not the.
What I find is funny is Daddy bought him
surprise.
the house. Daddy bought him the house that they fucking already destroyed.
That's a brilliant strategy. It's like, hey, Dad, I lowered the value of this. Now you can pay less for it. Didn't I do amazing? Can I have a Christmas present now or something? Yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, it would be really bad movie if it was like, Dad, I was so good that the company is worth twice now. Let me buy it. Like, no, you needed to destroy it first. Didn't you see RoboCop? I mean, yeah. Maybe it was all intentional.
That's what I'm wondering at this point. Oh, and the Wolfman teaser just got uploaded on IGN. Says Dark Hero fan.
So this
Should
is
we
for the
check it out?
movie?
Yeah, let's see if we can check it out. It's through Universal. I think they're not too bad with the claims.
Copyrights
It's not
and stuff. Yeah. I got my channel hit about 2 weeks ago from Games Workshop for reading my own article, which then they said was their copyrighted material. Which was
wow.
just, yeah, it was
I cut
fantastic.
that.
I've heard some shit about that lately.
I cut that segment out.
Flash.
I cut that segment out of our Flashcast that you were on, and it's doing pretty
Just
well
yours.
over on my channel.
Oh, you did a video on it, huh? Oh,
Yeah, I
thanks.
tagged you in it.
Oh, cool.
It's got like 15,000 views.
Yeah, I've not been able to get it off my channel. I've appealed 5 times. It's obnoxious.
All right, so I think this came out because of the reaction to that costume. How much you want to bet?
I think that we saw it because they were going to drop it anyway, but I still think it was a mistake to show it outside the context of a movie. I don't know why they would do that.
All right, so here we go.
Are you eating, Tom?
Fucking A, I got a new stove.
CGI.
Ants?
Grasshoppers.
So far, this
Praying
is looking
mantis.
like the video for Links Vor 3 4 by Rammstein.
From the director of The Invisible Man.
And the producers of something.
What was that thing, Blake?
We're totally not ripping off Alien.
I swear to God.
Or the next Hellboy movie. Looks a little bit like that too.
This is exactly like the Alien titles.
Yeah, only cheaper.
It's my job.
As if I did them.
It looks like it's saying clown. Oh, it's something else. Never mind.
It screwed up the. There's a bunch of random lines in the middle of their trailer here. So I can't watch the trailer.
Oh.
Blake, stop! Daddy, is that you?
They didn't show us anything.
Jump scare.
No.
They didn't show us a damn thing. Yeah.
That's the way a trailer should be, though.
Yeah, I agree. That's a fairly decent trailer. Too bad.
I
they
kinda
already
liked it,
showed
yeah.
him. Yeah.
I wanted to see the
Nothing wrong with the
Wolfman.
trailer.
His arm wasn't covered in hair.
Yeah, the lines are distracting. You couldn't focus on anything because you just see the lines over and over.
John, I sent you
yeah.
that video, and just check your DMs.
Oh, thanks. I'll share that around.
It's at 18,000.
Wow. Did better than my video on it.
That's on my
you
other
never know
channel.
with these things.
I gave it a good thumbnail. Used some sexy female custodies.
Yeah. You know what? Let's take a moment to since we have the two of you here. What's going on with the custodes? Because I've only seen this dude with this massive chin, and this is the biggest chin I have seen this side of Judge Dredd, and which I've seen going on social media. And this massive chin dude apparently is a female and a custode. So what's going on in the world of Warcraft, gentlemen? Do share. John, take us through it.
Yeah, so back in April, back to the lore, Games Workshop started announcing, they put into one of their codices, which is their rule books basically, a change in their history and their lore, that there was going to be that custodies, which were always listed as men before, could be either gender. And Warhammer fans are very, very, very picky about the lore. They want it to be respected. It's like Tolkien fans. It's like the same thing as Rings of Power. Like, if you disrespect Tolkien, if you get something wrong, you can't do that. And so Warhammer then went with the gaslighting tactic, went on X and responded that it's always been that way. And they told the fans, a lot of the lore that exists for this stuff, it's written from non-reliable narrators. So everything might be wrong. They tried to gaslight people doing that. Blew up in their faces. It became a big deal. And a lot of people at the time tried to downplay it and say, hey, this isn't actually changing that much. It's just allowing it in people's headcanon. There's no figures being made about this. Fast forward a few months later, they've doubled down on it. They have a new TV show called The Tithe, which is a animated deal with their property. And they actually have a female custody character in it now, and are pushing this harder. So they're definitely doubling down on what they were doing before. And so this is blowing up yet again. And the woke activists out there are gloating about it. They're saying it's fantastic. And the big deal that I'm going to cover about this, here's their gloating, one of their gloating tweets, I guess we'll pull up about this, that they are winning over the chuds. And this is what
beating the chuds.
Yeah, I know. It works so well for these companies when they do this. I pulled up my screen for you guys. You can see this gloating. They got to
be stopped, Paul.
They got to be stopped.
And how do I do this? How do I stop?
You press, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Perfect. And so this is Asa Hala, as you can tell, a beautiful she/her.
But again, the connection to the university protests. This is all connected.
Was that like a random?
She looks like she'd be a lot of fun at a party.
I have to say, I think it's very problematic that that she has the Palestine flag instead of the Ukraine flag. She really should be having both of them.
That's the new thing, though. Everybody replaced their Ukraine
flag.
All these
I love
women,
that.
I was just gonna say, all these women on this side of the fence, on that side of the fence, all have ill-fitting bras.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I love that all these peaceful, loving people just are loving war.
Yep. Their war.
What's interesting is then this is the next funny stuff. So here it is that they're into them are way into this. But you look at it, then they start attacking. Vera Dark actually there's my DMs. Decided to talk about this. She said to add some extra context. This is not from Space Marine 2, which is the new video game that came out.
Looks great
this.
too.
Space Marine 2 is solid from everything I hear. But a little short on the campaign side. It's only like 6 to 10 hours, but they didn't screw it up, so that's a good thing.
It reminds me a lot of Gears of War. Like, that's what I'm interested in, is the multiplayer for Gears, Gears of War style multiplayer.
Did you ever play the first Space Marine from back in 2012?
No, I did.
It's excellent too. Yeah, highly recommended.
Okay.
So here it is. Regardless, it's clear female custodies and the ugliest women in existence are their focus now. So I mean, if you look at the female custodies situation here, I mean, they're definitely not there to make them pretty. They look like dudes, only not, right? And so this, whoa, that's my subscribe star. Why can't I pull this up right? I'm bad at this. Sorry, guys, I'm boomering it up. So Kate Bush's husband, this this person always harasses our side kind of on X
Got
here.
Me blocked.
Yeah, me too. Female custodies are the ugliest women in existence, and this is you. And so this person is trying to bash Vera, to call Vera ugly here, and then used a picture where Vera's looking rather nice, in my opinion. It's like, what are you doing? These people are insane. But that's known. So Endymion talked about this. The typical woke weirdos trying to get a gotcha against YouTubers when it comes to Warhammer controversies. Vera Dark looks like a nice lady. Hilarious that they thought they had something here. But what can you expect from the typical so-called tolerant left? We live rent-free in these people's heads. I'm convinced when this person goes to bed, they get Vietnam flashbacks of our profile pictures in their head when they sleep.
I think they do.
So good. Yeah.
I think they really do think they're fighting the war on social media. It's really funny. Look at what they were doing with the YouTubers. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to see the Raylo war room right now and what it looks like and how bad it smells too.
It'd be, yeah, I would love to get in some of these like Discord servers or whatever where these people coordinate this stuff. Just to see what's going on, because I just love to see the name mentions there. Make a good video content.
Not only that, I'd love to see how they wrap their head around some of this shit.
Right.
Like how they logically think they're going to someplace. Like Vera Dark, she's like probably one of the most like as far as like abrasive, as far as being an abrasive YouTuber, she's like one of the least, right? Like that's where I'm coming from. So she's not even that aggressive. So for them to come after her, they just make it easy for us.
Well, she's a traitor. She's a traitor because she's a woman. She should be on their side.
Oh yeah, of course. Anybody who's black or a woman is obviously right away either a misogynist or a sympathizer or an Uncle Tom or what have you. It's bullshit.
What do they call women? Like, because if a black guy is a liberal, they call him an Uncle Tom. What do they call a woman?
Internalized misogyny, I believe is the term.
That's not as catchy though as like Uncle Tom.
No,
isn't there anything better?
But here's like the problem, because they have a big problem with women, right? Because they kind of like have to go with internalized misogyny, because they can't use woman face or anything like that, because they're in support of the Dylan Mulvaney's of the world.
Oh, pick me is what they call them.
Well, that's why I love that women are coming out. I love that women are coming out now and saying, quit wearing our culture as a costume, basically, same kind of thing.
What is their culture? Haunted wombs?
And this comes right off the heels of last week, and this didn't get a lot of reporting either. And so definitely join my Substack here, guys. But Games Workshop just gave they/them pronouns to the new Stormcast Eternals miniatures in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, their fantasy line. Oh, yes. So this is our Stormcast, and if you look at the figure, it's clearly a female figure form, and it's intentionally a female character in this. What it says on the site when they're advertising it is, before reforging, Iridan was an Azerite scholar whose memory became eidetic when they were transformed into a Stormcast Eternal. Their ability to recall countless years of military strategy proved vital aspect to Sigmar, but they were forever tormented by intense recollections.
Where's the rest of them?
Values. I know. Now, it was not an error, like any kind of error, or just somebody writing that unintentionally. I went to other figures, and they were listed as he in the description. So this was a very intentional move to try to push that they/them pronoun thing on Warhammer Fantasy.
Does he ride the eagle so he can fly around canceling people in the army?
Yes, the most dangerous move there. It'd be amazing. So that's Games Workshop, everybody. That's what's happening in miniatures wargaming right now.
I'm sure that'll sell tens of figures. It actually looks kind of cool, but they ruined it.
It's a good-looking figure.
Yeah.
In the better news in miniature wargaming, though, BattleTech writer Blaine Pardo, who's awesome, decided to sue the Topps Corporation, who owns BattleTech and MechWarrior, over breach of contract over firing him. This just came out this morning, and I'll definitely be making a video on this later. It's on August 5th, he says, I filed a lawsuit against Topps Corporation for violation of our contract regarding my legacy BattleTech and MechWarrior titles. This isn't the first time I've had to bring suit against them. More than on that on a later date. Suffice to say, I was successful the last time I did this, and I believe I will be this time. For the last 2 years, Topps has failed to pay me royalties on my original BattleTech and MechWarrior titles I wrote. The last time I was paid when Catalyst Game Labs severed our future relationship. That's about 2 years ago. This lawsuit covers my books prior to those printed by Catalyst and by FASA and WizKids era, which are royalty-based. Before filing this suit, I reached out to Topps General Counsel via email, voicemail, and my lawyer sent them a certified letter outlining the terms and conditions they violated in our contract. They declined to respond, forcing me down this path. I was willing to grant them the assumption that this was a simple clerical oversight on their part. When they did not respond to my attempts to resolve this, I could only assume this was a purposeful act. I guess it wasn't enough for my exile for Battletech. Now they're collecting money on my books and not giving me legal share of those proceeds. Now,
You know
Blaine
what's fucked
Pardo was canceled for being a conservative 2 years ago. They completely fired him, removed him, all because of his Trump support. And so they're definitely trying to memory hole with him and screw with him intentionally. And I hope this guy makes the rubble bounce. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. It's just kind of tangential. I didn't even know Topps was still around until this last year. Now, this is like twice, actually this last week, I should say. I saw Topps cards in the store the other day. I'm like, I didn't even know Topps was still around.
Even
and I just
even
heard this now, yeah.
Even like the Marvel cards are still around. Remember
I had
those?
no idea they were still doing shit.
Yes.
I didn't even.
Some of them are really valuable
or something. Because
no, some of that's a whole thing. I didn't even know that this was still a thing. But like, yeah, cards never went anywhere. They're still there.
Wow.
Like they have all of these limited cards and rookie. They have like a Miles Morales rookie card.
I mean, are
it's
they
worth
still
like $500
located
bucks.
in?
No,
Wow.
$500.
Yeah.
Because they used to have just like this string of buildings. I can't remember what city it was in. Was it in Philadelphia or God? Anyway, the famous thing about that area where they were is once you would walk close to the Topps factory, the air it smelled and tasted sweet because of the gum. Because they would make the gum right downtown there, and it would get in the air so much that people would talk about how sweet the air would smell around Topps.
I don't think the gum's in there anymore.
No, not anymore. They don't make it, but yeah.
And that gum was awful.
Topps is owned by
awful,
Fanatics. Fanatics does all
that's what I was
the
wondering.
Licensing and all the baseball caps.
That's my question, John. I wondered if somebody bought them out a while back. That was my question. Yeah.
But then
still...
Topps also owns BattleTech. I mean, it's like all these companies have so many subsidiaries. They have a lot. So there's a lot of products that you don't even know are owned by these companies, and
they
learn of it here.
The modern card market runs similar to kind of like Pokemon, really. I mean, it's all about how many you buy and what you pull out of it. Like they make some cards rarer than others. That's pretty much the game now. So you'll get like some. I think in the Marvel stuff, the big thing was you could pull a signed card by a celebrity. Like so, you could have Scarlett Johansson sign a Black Widow card, and you could pull that.
Right. I know in the baseball stuff they actually cut up like pieces of like the jerseys the players wear and like embed them in the cards. It's kind of cool.
They are very much still around.
Well, I hope they get sued into oblivion by Blaine Pardo here. Makes me happy.
Does it include sports sweat? The bits of the uniform. Does it?
Probably. I don't know. Good question. It's kind of gross now that I think about it.
It is a bit gross.
Yeah. So that's what's happening in gaming right now, in wargaming, and the battle's going on. It's raging on in Warhammer and BattleTech against these woke people who own these corporations, just like every other front. Oh my gosh. Flash, have you read Exceptional X-Men yet? Or are you going to?
No, I've only been reading X-Men and Uncanny X-Men. Both of those are pretty good.
Those are great. Exceptional X-Men is where they decided to go there.
That's why I skipped it. I'm also skipping that. What is the one, Mutants in NYC or whatever with Miss Marvel?
Oh, it's
I'm
terrible.
skipping that one too. Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah, I'm just gonna read the two that are good as long as they stay good.
So Marvel relaunched this, guys. I know nobody reads comics anymore, but you can see this is the X-Men.
What the hell?
You might notice something about the cover of the X-Men there. There's no men, but they might be X-Men, EX-Men. There might be a couple of those.
I was going to say, that's...
Oh, Kitty Pryde's gay now, I guess.
I think that green thing might have been a man at one point.
Yeah. So I read this
Kitty
last
Pryde
night.
to the left of Emma?
Yeah, that's supposed to be Kitty.
Yeah, she's gay now.
And then,
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. So E-viewing...
Colossus's longtime girlfriend is now gay.
Yes.
And they aged him up and gave him a beard so that he would look like a pedophile standing next to her.
Oh, great.
And I'm not even kidding. So she looks younger now.
This is the
That's
cover.
the cover. Yeah, this is what they're trying to sell it to you as. Yeah. Does this
You
make
know,
wanna
this
purchase
this reminds me of the cover of my one of my favorite comics is Batman versus Spider-Man. That cover does not hold a candle to this. I'm
No.
just saying that was wretched art. If someone could bring that up, then you can compare the two. But it's, you know,
I'll give you a summary of the plot here, so you don't have to read it.
Thank you.
It's from Kitty Pryde's perspective, like all these people are not in it. Only the Kitty Pryde, the black lady, they them. Is that a dude or a lady? I can't tell. I can't tell with all of these. It's really rough. Kitty Pryde's like working as a bartender, and she's depressed because she doesn't really have the X-Men anymore. And she's getting anxiety because her job's too stressful. So it's literally like
As
white
a
woman.
bartender?
Yeah, white woman.
That's
the
least.
book.
That's less stressful than fighting terrorists.
Yes. So she goes home and she like lays on her bed, and her roommate, who's also a black lady, who is probably a lesbian roommate, I don't know, asks her what's wrong. We're now like 5-6 pages into the comic book. It sounds like a thrilling X-Men adventure, doesn't it? She's going to go to a concert on a date with another woman, and then she gets stood up. She gets stood up by that other woman, so she's sad. So at the concert, the black girl at the bottom there, the bottom left, I think, gets like Colossus style metal skin when people are bullying her. And then because she's being bullied for whatever, and then the cops come after her because she's a mutant, even though she's the one being bullied. And so Kitty Pryde runs away with her, brings her back, and then gets a thank you card, and then has to talk with her lesbian lover about their next date.
So
And
she
that's all
has
that
the powers
happens.
of her old boyfriend.
Yeah. Stunning and brave.
That's
And that's all that happened. That was the entire issue. And I'm sitting here like,
How many
painful.
people are gay on the X-Men now? There's so many. Because even now, Scott and Wolverine are like, they never actually came out and said it, but it's pretty fucking obvious that they.
It was implied. Yeah, the throuple. Yeah. Yes. This is one of the
out
most
of the Ricada household.
painful comics I've read. No, Flash. Painful comics I've ever read. Oh my God, it's terrible. E-viewing, by the way, is like a nepotism hire related to Al Ewing, it's obvious that Kitty Pryde is like her self-insert character, who's just her as the nervous white woman.
Oh, Eve Ewing's writing that book? Well, no wonder it's shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wanted to present just how bad artwork was in the past compared to the new stunning and brave artwork that they provide. This is my copy of this issue.
Why would you want to read this when you could read that?
I'm totally with you. I get it.
I miss the days when they were able to do this all the time.
I know.
There were some great crossover books. Like the best one is Teen Titans X-Men.
Mike Miller just did some art for me. Do you want to see?
Yeah.
I haven't shown this to anybody yet. Do you guys know Mike Miller?
Yeah, do share.
Mike Miller was from Injustice at DC Comics. I think he's doing a cover. Is he doing a cover for you, Flash?
He is.
That's right. So he just did this for me. This is gonna be my Space Marine book.
Well, this is probably a good place to plug your book.
Oh yeah. Well, this is not it. This is gonna be the next one. But holy crap, Mike!
But yeah.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah.
Is he just doing who's doing the interior?
This guy Matt Vey, I can't pronounce his last name, and the interiors look like Jack Kirby out of the 70s, like exactly.
Oh,
like
nice.
I even did the color. I did the colors like all faded, so it looks like you're picking up a 70s comic. It's gonna
say it better not be the Quaff, because his ass. I'm about to take a whip to him if he doesn't.
Oh wow!
If he doesn't get his Asian ass moving.
The Quaff is so lazy. I swear. He
still has like 10 more pages I need from him.
So thank you guys for allowing me to shill right now. I am on my
a nice thing.
Yeah, this is my graphic novel that's out right now. It's called The Hidden Emperor. And I built this originally as a replacement to Star Wars, but as I've been building out the universe, we're going to have a Space Marine novel come out of this next, and with some different characters, but in the same universe. And it's really a replacement to Star Wars, Warhammer 40K. It's just your sci-fi classics right here that we're going for. This is a beautiful cover by Miss Sashi. And when I developed the character of Ayla Rin, I was reading, about the Black Little Mermaid and all the sort of redhead ginger side going on in Hollywood across everything. And so we wanted to combat that. So we made a beautiful redheaded character in order to specifically combat that. And then we were very pissed at the way Marvel was drawing their women, like you saw on that X-Men cover. Like you can't tell, they're like androgynous now. They don't have the curves that they used to have. So we very intentionally gave her some quality assets for a intergalactic super spy, and that's the design of the character in a nutshell. Now in this one we have the Emperor of Humanity, and where I flipped the script on Star Wars is the Imperium, the Empire is benevolent and good, and the people rebelling against it are actually trying to tear it down from the inside, destroy the culture. So it's kind of a commentary on like the woke destroying America, right? Because America's kind of the empire, which is our benevolent good empire, and they've kind of destroyed it, right?
I the question I have is,
Yeah.
the device in her hand, does it use 2 D cells?
Absolutely. Solar,
Okay.
though. Solar D cells.
Oh,
or something.
solar.
Solar charge. I don't know.
I can show
I
you
don't know.
Mike's cover. You want to see it?
Yeah, let's see
Yeah, of
Mike's book.
course.
Grab this book, guys, before we get into that, though. So, 10 days left on this. This is our most successful book ever so far, and I really appreciate you guys supporting us. This is a wonderful spot to be if you like science fiction. I know Tom's a big science fiction guy.
I'm
And,
just on your
I
website
tend to
now.
be.
Yeah,
Hail Holy Legion.
that's right. You're on my website. Thanks.
I'm
And
there
then this
now.
one, the Emperor of Humanity gets kidnapped, replaced by a clone. He's making bad decisions, and she has to find the real Emperor before everything kind of falls apart. So appreciate you guys for being there.
No problem.
Yeah.
Then we got Flash's cover here. He was showing off.
Yes,
This is Mike
Mike.
Miller's cover.
Gosh,
We
is
want
that
it to look like a
beautiful.
movie poster.
Yeah, and it does. Succeeds.
So we got the hero front and center as he should be, and then the villains down there being chased by some American planes.
Beautiful.
And you'll learn who the rest are later.
Wow. I'm
Mike's
writing
such a pro.
I'm writing a story about a bunch of young and grizzled mechanics who are trying to keep the regular gas-powered cars on the road in defiance of the Minister of Electric Cars in Canada, who's trying to get rid of all gas-powered cars, and they just keep managing to keep fix them and keep them on the road, and he sends off his minions to
Sounds like a real Nazi.
what?
You'll like our villain in this book. We actually modeled him looks wise after. Remember when Justin Trudeau wore the Hindu outfit or whatever, and
Yes,
looked like
with
a
the
goofball?
blackface.
Yes, we modeled him after that picture. So.
Oh my God! Are you Canadian?
No, I just but my artist is though. So.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So-
That's a
so-
really, and he's got his tongue sticking out.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
know,
Just,
it's a fame.
we thought nothing looks more villainous than that. So
Yeah,
we're gonna go with
that's
it.
one of our Prime Minister trading cards.
Someone in the chat saying that the villain and the hero look alike. Well, that's intentional. You will learn about it if you read the comic.
Beautiful.
But there's a reason that they look the same.
Yeah,
Very
brothers,
much so.
brothers that hate each other. I'm guessing.
Yeah, chip of the old block, both of them. So yeah.
Yeah, my brother and I
I'm
are
speculating.
completely different people.
Yeah. No, that looks fantastic. So do check that out. Link, of course, is pinned in the chat. Plus, it is in the description.
Yep. My brother is gay, and people only suspect me of being gay. That's our difference.
Cool. Thank you guys. Yeah, back this. It's like you said, it's in the description. It's on Kickstarter, and support our independent projects. We're definitely trying to compete with Marvel and DC. It was beautiful. Eric July made a video of independent creators to check out and support this morning, and threw me up in there and threw this in there. So shout out to Eric July. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
no, it's fantastic, and glad to see it succeed. So yeah, that's awesome. Let's if you have like any final words about it, otherwise let's do a couple more of these super chats.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. I just have to
All
see
right.
where we were, or because they don't.
I think I think I got us up to date here. Hyperguyver 2 is where I'm starting off at with $5. Says there's no wolves on Fenris, and there are no female custodes Astartes. So there you go.
So they have managed to squeeze in female custodes now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in that animated. We were those still images I was showing where it was from Warhammer's official deal.
Didn't Warhammer or the parent company go through a massive loss, stock loss, not too long ago?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
but they didn't learn.
Okay, has it rebounded? Is this why they've sort of weathered the storm?
No, they're just in the same spot. If you look at actually who owns them, BlackRock and Vanguard actually own about 30% of the company.
Oh,
so
boy,
they're just
okay.
sitting on it.
Excellent.
There's nobody who cares. They're all asleep at the wheel, and the mega corporations have squeezed the life out of it.
Then we got Sean the Movie Man here, who sends in 5 and says, Joker 2 reviews have been brutal. Musical doesn't work. Gaga wasted and overall boring. I think audience and critics will be united in this disappointed. Yeah, I've also been hearing there's a twist in it that people are probably not going to like much either.
I don't honestly give a shit what critics say about movies anymore. You can't trust them. They can all be bought and paid for the low price of $50. We found that out.
The critics did not like Joker 1.
No, they hated it.
Worse, it's more than that. It's not that they didn't like it. Let's be completely honest here. They actively did not want you to see it.
Yeah, I remember.
The entirety of the entertainment media complex, they had it in for that movie, and they wanted it to fail. I mean, Deadline Hollywood, they were literally threatening you. And this was an article that was brought up in the entertainment section of many newspapers around the world. That basically, if you go see this movie, then some incel is going to come into the screening and shoot you.
Yeah, you're going to die if you go see Joker.
They were literally threatening
That's
you.
True.
Do not go or you will be shot. I mean, that's like one of the first million view videos we had today, was commenting on the insanity of the media response. No, the critics, they had it in for that movie from day one. And for that reason, like, who knows, maybe this movie won't be all that. But as you pointed out, Yellow Flash, the critics of the original movie, they hated it. They wanted it to fail so bad. And now we are supposed to trust those same critics again when they have shown repeatedly over and over again that they are not to be trusted. No, I reject everything they say. I will assess that movie for myself, or I will trust the views of my friends, but I do not care one iota for what anyone in the entertainment media complex says about this movie, good or bad.
I'm not referring to one of the reviews. I heard from somebody that there is a twist in the end that the audience is going to hate.
Okay, that's something that I'm more inclined to believe.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that the movie is guaranteed to be good.
I don't know what it was. They didn't allude to what it was. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is I am not willing to dismiss the movie based on the entertainment media complex critics that have shown time and again that they cannot be trusted. I mean, honestly, you would be better off flipping coins than trusting the entertainment media complex, and you would probably have like a better accuracy rating.
Yeah, on an unrelated but semi-related note, I did hear something about the Batman too. Matt Reeves hasn't even turned in a script yet.
Oh, I hope he never will.
So I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, is this thing as sure as they say it is? Because they could still reject his script. Right? The only thing that makes me think this is going to happen, I hated the Batman. I fucking hated it. And the only reason I think we're going to get...
much.
I'll tell you why I think we're going to get the Batman 2 right now. There's only 2 reasons why. Number 1, because it's going to take them forever to get their Batman, the DC Batman, off the ground. Okay, it's going to take at least another 2-3 years. Secondly, because they've already made the deal with IMAX, so that means they've got some money already probably in their pockets because of this. Those are the only 2 reasons why I think this movie's going to happen. Otherwise, at this point, since he hasn't even turned in a script yet, right, and they're not even supposed to start shooting until sometime next year, like what are they waiting for? Like, this is what Script Doctor and I have been saying all this time. Like, when everybody's like, oh, it was a hit, it was a hit. It's like, if it was a hit, that would have been one of the first things Zaslav said when he walked in the doors. Green light, Batman 2.
Right.
They're waiting for Reeves to get in shape.
But they got Joker 2 off the ground right away. And that movie's done, right? It doesn't even come out for another month. And it's been done for a bit. So, yeah, anyway. And
There's
it's
things
just
I liked about the Batman. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but there were things that I liked.
Well, no, the thing was is that my whole
especially
thing at
the
was,
Batmobile itself, I
right.
really loved.
Well, my whole thing at the time was I kept trying to tell people, is like, if you like Ben Affleck as the Batman, don't go see this movie. And nobody listened to me. And then those same people were griping and pissing.
I liked Ben
about
Affleck as the Batman, but I didn't like his Batman.
Yeah, as the Snyderverse was going down in flames. Well, the reason that was because this movie proved that that the audience didn't give enough of a shit about the Snyderverse, but yet there wasn't enough people that went to see this that they were going, okay, well, this is the direction to go, because this was right after the Joker had made $1 billion. And I was told that the meeting went down basically, yeah, the movie did okay, but it was way too long. There was no chemistry between Catwoman and the Pattinson. It's too dour, too dark, and it costs too fucking much. And what the hell is the reason why a Batman movie can't make $1 billion right after the Joker just did? That was their number one question. So Zaslav said, come back to me with a shorter script and a much cheaper one. And in the meantime, they had the Penguin going on, and I was hearing that was going to kind of be more of the testing ground to see if there even still is an audience for this.
That sounds right, but
because $700 million is not what they were anticipating.
That Penguin show looks good. I'm kind of curious about that
conceptually.
Show.
Like, I don't want a Penguin show though. Like, you know, I'm
willing to watch it though if it looks all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of gangster Penguin.
I was told that when that movie didn't perform the way they were hoping it to, that was the moment that they decided we need to revamp and redo the DC universe, and they started begging James Gunn to take it over, because there was James Gunn and a few others they talked to, but I kept hearing, and Andre can back me up on this time and time again, I kept hearing they're whining and dining James Gunn. They want him to take on the DC universe. He is their man. He is the guy that Zaslav is gunning for. Sure as shit, as soon as Black Adam went, what happened? They announced James Gunn's taking over the DC universe. Because I'd already heard rumblings that he was working on some project, like Superman was what it turned out to be. But anyway, we got Paulie joining us as well. Hey, Paulie.
Hey, what's happening? John and Yellow Flash. Welcome.
We actually are losing Paul. So we got a Paulie and we're losing a Paul.
Paulie came in to defend the Batman.
The Batman. Yeah, it was pretty boring. First hour was brilliant. first hour was really brilliant. But Matt Reeves and my Connect, they went to go work overtime on the Penguin. So that's
yeah, that's what you were talking about.
That's what's happening. My Connect was head of writer story. I can't tell you their name, but like Yellow Flash said, man, it looks fantastic. It looks incredible.
Either way, but Paul, what do you got going on?
I think I'm going to drop another appalling news item today. My Filofax or whatever of appalling news items has grown so large that I'm going to have to do one a day just to clear out all the crazy stuff that's going out there.
You might have to do it like crazy fast style.
Yeah, so I did one yesterday that was pretty funny. A woman who decided to record the call where she got fired from her job. She actually recorded it and posted it. So, okay, I'm going to comment on it. Thank you, lady. And that's hilarious. And it's almost as embarrassing as those dash cam videos that I'm addicted to now, where cops are pulling over drunk women.
Oh, they got a new show called Late Night Lockup. That's the shit.
Oh,
Paul,
So
before you
yeah,
go,
yeah.
have you got like 5 more minutes, maybe?
Sure, I'll if you need
Because
me, I'll-
somebody sent us this clip, and I think you're the main reason it was sent.
Oh.
Caitlin Clark, right?
No,
this is actually Marlon Wayans.
Oh,
This is from
Um,
Mo.
Yeah,
Mo's a
so
supporter of the channel. Has
yeah,
been for a
so you
while.
know what this is all about, then, Paulie. I haven't got a chance to check this out yet. But
I
it's
haven't
about
seen
television.
it yet, but I think
And
Wayans breaks down how Hollywood should be, and Mo's a great guy. I met him at Comic-Con last year.
oh.
So yeah, I think that the main reason this was sent to us was for your reaction, though, Paul. So let's.
So this isn't Sharp, the football player on the left.
That is.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is.
He's interviewing Wayan, the guy on the right.
Ah.
Yeah, with Marlon Wayans.
I know they all look alike,
Ah!
Chato, but
Oh,
you got a full-on Chicano here. I could tell the difference.
That's gonna get clipped, and then they're gonna
Hi-yo.
use it to tag Team YouTube on
Boy,
X.com.
writing,
I
rip
think
Paulie.
so, John.
I cannot tell the difference between you and Jenna Ortega, but you know.
Whoa. Oh.
I didn't say
Oh.
she did do an okay job in the movie, but
No, she
one of
was
her
great.
storylines could have been dumped.
She was
That's the
Grace
sad part.
Randolph says that the movie is about stalking women. Is that true?
Unfortunately, she does have not the stalking of a woman part, but the fact that most of the men in the movie are basically either pieces of shit or abusive in some way is true. Outside of 2 characters,
Wow.
basically,
Does
or
Jenna
3,
wear my hat,
2.3.
Is
ever wear a hat like
Beetlejuice a white knight for women?
By proxy, he is one of the decent men in the movie.
I got to see this.
There's a Latin man.
It's
that's
not a
decent.
very good movie, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah. The actors are great. You know, it's like the same thing with the Rings of Power. It's the opposite. You have great likable actors with defined character. You know, the characters are very well defined in Beetlejuice, but the storylines are just I
Too
couldn't
much.
believe it, bro. I could not believe it. And you want to like it because everyone's like really likable and
It's
good.
going to
and-
open huge, regardless.
It is,
It's already
but
doing well.
Oh no!
But
it's
I
gonna
wonder
kill.
how it's going to hold up. That's
No,
the thing.
that's of course. Yeah.
No, it's gonna kill because Jenna's audience is gonna come for like the next 2 weekends. It's the Zendaya effect.
What's the audience score look like? Has anyone
I
looked?
haven't checked, bro. I
I
haven't
haven't
checked.
checked either.
Like, it seems to be like most of the general audience is liking it. Within our circles, it's been mostly middling to negative. Like the only positive review I've heard so far has been Force of Light and Culture Casino.
Oh, 13 million in previews last night.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a good review. I've decided.
I wanted to, Yellow Flash. I really wanted to, but it's got a lot of the same problems that Frozen Empire had and some other worse ones,
Okay,
and some not so bad, but yeah.
Can I share this with you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do this.
So syndication was you had to do what 100 shows,
100 shows,
100 episodes.
100 episodes. I personally, I think if I do TV again, I want to go back to that model. For me, that's I want to do sitcom. I want to do TV. I want to do.
But they won't syndicate you anymore.
I want to do it. I think it's still a model that is necessary. I think the brands need a place to go. I think the networks have given up and they've allowed the streamers to kill their business. See, we live in a greedy business and they try to compete with each other. I just feel like sometimes, let Netflix be Netflix.
Right.
Hey, the
Everybody gotta
homie
create
is
that.
copying
You
me.
can kill your business to go try and do their business and spend all this money chasing their business when let them have their business. I like the syndication thing. I want to do it. I could do a Netflix or a stream. I've been very successful on all those. But I truly believe in the syndication thing. You do 100 episodes, maybe 200 episodes, and then you sell it market by market. And then you sell it to the streamers. There's a big business in it. I paid $3 million an episode. If I get $3 million back on the first run, then I'm recouping everything that I've made. And then the second run, and if I'm getting $1 million an episode for those 200 episodes, that's $400 million.
Right.
Right? You got to think about the business of the business. And now I just feel like our business is gobbling itself up and we need to break out of it, and get back to not everything being under one roof.
Holy Jesus.
Yep. He's
he
basically been
listening?
listening to us. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Brilliant.
I
is
have
what I've
comments,
been
but I want
saying.
to wait for Chato.
Well, I mean, I'm in complete agreement. I believe strongly that the survival of Hollywood is going to require the resurrection of the networks, because they know how to do 24 shows a year and get rid of all the stupid cop shows, get rid of all the reality or most of the reality shows, get back to scripted product, get back to because as I've always mentioned, the most of the income for creative people in Hollywood was a pilot season, where the studios and the networks would commission 100 scripts, then they would shoot 25, and then they would put 4 shows on and keep 1 or 2. And it was all the work that was done behind the scenes on shows that never really made it to air. That's where most of the creative people made their money. And if they were lucky enough to actually get a show on the air, I mean, that was really brilliant. And if it turned into an ongoing series, then that was even better. But the thing is, the streamers, their most popular shows are the old streaming shows created by the networks. And look at what Pluto is doing. Look at why not Hulu, but Tubi is kicking everyone's ass, is because they have licensed all the old shows created by the networks. So what he's talking about is exactly what I've been advocating for the last at least a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Streaming has killed Hollywood.
Yep. So thanks for tagging us in that. And Paulie, you said you wanted to follow up to that before Paul left, I believe.
On the other end, on the creative end, the creators, the writers, directors, the actors, anyone involved with those syndications or with network television shows, they just get paid more over the years, well over the years, because those deals, they had better deals back in the day. Now you have none of those deals. Now they're being paid a third of what they used to be paid for a guest star. How do I know this? We all know who I know this, right? My other half is actually filming on a TV show today. It is a Amazon Prime show in the Bosch universe. She's has a great role, reoccurring. But you know, the payday is peanuts. It's a bupkis. It's a bupkis compared to, let's say, she gets a residual check from 911, which was on Fox, a residual check from Law and Order. There's just no comparison. Yes, and yes.
Because the numbers are bigger. Hey, if your squeeze ever ends up doing a series up in Toronto for Amazon or something, then you know, if you follow her, you can join me. We can have.
Well, no, I just wanted to say real quick, like, this is where Script and Paul and I have talked in the past about this too, and this is the same kind of thing. Is you'll never get a cast or a show like Friends again, or anything like that, where they were able to bank on, you know, the popularity of the show, right? Like, the reason they were getting those big paydays in those later seasons is because they got those first 100 episodes, got into syndication, were one of the biggest shows on the planet, and they were still one of the most watched programs. And so they could say, yeah, we want $1 million an episode.
Yep.
Or X amount an episode. Same thing with The Simpsons. The voice actors there, they're the highest paid voice actors ever, because they said, well, pay us what we're worth. And because of those syndication deals, that's how they were able to pay them what they were worth.
Yep. Nope. I completely agree. Yes, streaming has killed Hollywood.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a great great video. Thank you for hanging out, Paul. We appreciate that. And Paulie, also for your insight on that. And thank you for tagging me in that as well, so we could watch that. And Paul, I know you already plugged your stuff, but you have to get rolling. So
I have to go, John. Just hi, John. Nice to meet you. And I'm on your website, and I'm on your Kickstarter thing. So
yes,
although you're oversubscribed, you don't need my money.
I do. I actually something I always mention is, like, I've never taken a dime from any of these Kickstarter projects. I plug it right back into art, and I'm in development of 7 different graphic novels right now, because I want to just be coming out with one of these every single month and just running circles around Marvel and DC with quality storytelling, because they won't do it. And I don't want to just rest on my laurels and come out with like a book a year, or a book every 2 years, or do that kind of thing. I really want to work hard, build a full franchise, build a couple of full franchises, and be that pulp storyteller, like Stan Lee used to be, because those guys used to come out. I mean, gosh, Stan Lee was writing 12, 15 scripts a month. I mean, it was insane in Marvel's heyday. People don't realize how hard these people worked. And I like that work ethic. That's something I want to emulate. So,
Well,
Yes.
if none of your books contain lesbians dressed in potato sacks, I'm not buying.
there's 0 lesbians and potato sacks in my books.
Well,
Correct.
forget
Before
it
you
then.
go,
Forget it.
before you go, we got a couple of super chats real quick here. Sorry about this. I forgot. That was my fault. Halcyon 0991, or that's probably not how you say it. Halcyon is probably how you pronounce it.
Halcyon?
Halcyon, thank you. 5 says, "Hey Paul, just wanted to thank you for recommending Spy X Family. It's very funny and wholesome. Little Anya is adorable and funny. Check it out, guys."
Yeah.
I think that's the next show I'm going to watch now that I'm done with the One Piece.
Yeah, you were
It's
talking
fun.
about
Good.
that the other day.
High
I'm
recommendation.
completely caught up with One Piece now, waiting week to week like everybody else.
Well, I'm
Then
trying to
Elijah-
get Polly. I am Polly. I'm trying to get Chato to watch City of God. TV
Let's
show.
book it. Well, we already tried. Next week we're
No, that's a movie. There's now a TV series on HBO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I recommend. It's like a Brazilian Narcos Flash,
Mm.
Yellow Flash.
And Elijah
What's the
Snow
name of
sends
it?
in.
It's called City of God. The fight rages on. I've only seen the first episode. It's a banger episode. That's how you do television as far as a pilot.
It's not an anime.
No, it's like a gangsters.
Okay,
Like Narcos.
I'll check
You
it
ever
out.
seen Narcos?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if you're looking for another TV show or anime. I can't help you out. That's not my expertise.
Shit. And then we got
meanwhile,
Elijah.
Paul, while you were just like chilling and relaxing between videos, stuff, you don't have time for something. I have plenty of Rammstein videos to recommend you.
Hey,
Hey, if you're going to talk about music, what does everyone think about that new female singer for Linkin Park?
Oh yeah, my
we
feelings
actually have a
on that.
logo for that, but we can
We'll get to that in just because I actually had some music
Yeah.
news too to go with that. But Elijah Snow says, "Paul, it's the Chinese. This is their influence."
I wouldn't. You know what? If we're all doing conspiracy stuff, then I think it's to their benefit to make us attack each other.
Yeah, Packing Proton says with $2, just keep Ghost Adventures. 'Tis fun, Paul. Yeah, when you said get rid of all the reality shows, would
Ghost
that count as a
Adventures.
reality show anyway? It's unscripted, probably.
Except for
but
late night lockup. That's the shit.
there's a few, but ActionCom sends in 5 and says, "What the hell is syndication? I don't know what it is. I do know that Fox tried to hide syndication from Married with Children creators." Okay, what syndication is, ActionCom,
Star
is when
Trek:
it-
The Next Generation.
was when it, yeah, well, there's either shows that are created specifically for syndication, which is where it's a show is done and they sell that show to each individual market, right?
So the old rule also too, Tom, was that you had to have at least
I
5 to 7
was going to get to that.
seasons?
So basically, what you would do is you would get to usually by your 5th season when you'd hit 100 episodes. 100 episodes is the magic number. That's what Marlon was talking about. Once you hit 100 episodes, then you can sell your show for syndication. So what they'll do is they'll go out and they'll do this huge campaign, and all the local channels will get like a big package and say buy our show, and it'll be for the Simpsons or for the Wayans Brothers show or whatever that they're selling for that year. And then you decide to buy it. And as Marlon explained there, you pay X amount. So what they do is they're able to amortize all these markets together, bring in all this money from all different various sources because they'll sell local ads, which pay for the show. And it just all goes down the line and everybody makes money. So it's basically when you see a show on every day, 5 times a week, that's called syndication.
So there is one twist I'd like to add because I have experience with this, is that there's a difference between shows that become popular on network television and then are syndicatable versus shows that are designed for syndication. They don't really care about audience reaction. So one of the first was John Biner's Bizarre. And he had 2 versions, one where they had topless girls and one that they didn't. And it was primarily never really put on any network, but they cranked out the shows. It had Super Dave in it. And the schedule was brutal, but they got to their syndication limits not through waiting for 24 shows a season. They just jammed 50, 60 shows a year.
Well, that was kind of like how the animated shows were done, right, Paul? Like they would do the same thing. They'd just sit there and order like 60 episodes.
Sure, yeah. And so Bizarre was an example of a show that was designed to be in syndication. So they didn't wait for audience response. They didn't wait for anything. They just cranked them all out, and then it became a syndicated experience.
Yeah. Actually, Masters of the Universe was another. A lot of those animated shows that we grew up with were syndicated shows. And that's exactly how they were sold to the markets. They sold them one season. If that first season went well, then they come back. And then that's why like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and TMNT and a bunch of those shows have like these huge runs in their second and third seasons.
Yep.
Because that's basically what they would do is just order a flat 30 or 60 episodes.
Yeah, they're driving it for the syndication market. And that's it for a little bit of former network executive info.
Yeah, we got one more, I think, for you, and then you're out of here. We got two more, actually. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, Paul, run while you can. And then he says, see Paul run. Run, Paul, run. I don't know if Paul can run anymore. Can you?
Bye, everyone.
Adios.
Take care, Paul. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Always fun to hang out with Paul. So that was an interesting question. And did we want to jump to the music news now, or do we want to do some of these super chats first, Andre? I think he stepped away. So let's do some of these super chats. HyperGuyver2 sends in 5, says there's no wolves on Fenris. We got this one already. Thank you, though. Sean the Movie Man, we did get this one. Okay, so here we should be caught up now. STR Red Wolf sends in 2 and says, did they turn Lord of the Rings into Rocky and Bullwinkle? You mean Panda Rings of Power or
Rings of Power? The season 2, I only could get through the first episode.
I have not watched it.
Yeah.
And Paul has, and he left.
No.
I just finished episode 6 of season 1.
No.
Oh, you're still in season 1?
Stop.
I'm trying to catch up. It's
Dude.
so painful.
I'm not watching
it's
it.
so painful.
Season finale of that episode, season 1, because I wanted to refresh for season 2.
I don't have a lot of time for leisure.
Right.
And when I do, I'd rather watch something I like.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be it. What is it like? I'd have to go back and watch season 1. How many episodes?
That's my problem too. Yeah.
I watched the first 2
9,
and then I
whatever.
dipped.
Like 8. No,
You made it that far?
8 episodes.
As I said earlier, there's no real story. You have to keep on reminding, at least I had to keep on reminding myself as I was watching, who am I watching? What do they want? What are their motivation? What's actually happening here? Because it's just like one scene after the other. It doesn't really flow anything. No real storylines, no real stake. It's just inconsequential bullcrap.
There's too much anime I can watch. I'd rather
Maybe
do that.
that's what STR Red Wolf was asking, because I think he stepped away for a second, Andre. But like, basically, the question was this: they've turned Lord of the Rings now into Rocky and Bullwinkle. So I'm not understanding the reference. You've actually seen it. So is there something to that? I don't get the reference.
I have not seen Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. See, yeah, I have, but I have to see the thing that he's.
So you see, kind of like a double blind here. You've seen one, I have seen the other, but none of us have seen both to be able to do the comparison. So yeah,
Rocky and Bullwinkle were cool cartoons.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the randomness part, because that's kind of what Rocky and Bullwinkle was literally like random little 5-minute interstitial cartoons just stitched together.
Or maybe like when he did the magic trick at the end.
Well, he always does the same magic trick and always fails. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna pull a rabbit out of my hat again.
Or my next trick.
Yeah. He always screws it up. Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty much STR Red Wolf says that was more of a question for Chato. Oh, sorry about that, STR. My bad. Maybe he would have got the reference too. That's the thing. Sorry about that. Destiny Captain sends in. Here's the thing, kids. The best way to make sure we get somebody, if you want somebody specifically to answer a question, just do at Paul or at whoever. Then we generally have a better idea of who you want to, and that helps.
Yeah.
But, sorry about that. Destiny Captain sends in 499, says that's Jennifer Sulky's Rings of Dookie. I've been calling it Panda Rings of Power. That was George Molo's name he came up with for it. Gabatron sends in Canadian 10 and says, I'm of Indian ethnicity, and including Indians or non-Europeans, in a medieval setting, Europe setting, erases what we were doing during that time. Jeez, I can't read this morning.
I agree completely.
We were not in Europe.
It's so completely disgusting because, the people who are doing this, they are so unbelievably racist. They're like, we are so good, we are going to include you into our European history, thereby completely erasing and nullifying your history, which in a medieval setting was a hell of a lot more interesting than anything that was going on in Europe. When we had our dark ages in Europe, honestly, that's when the Islamic world and over in that region, they were the ones that kept civilization alive. Not everyone knows that because we don't know history too well. But when you just do what you do, I mean, you're doing everyone a complete non-service. It's rewriting history. It's racist in every single form. If you want to do something really fascinating, then instead do something completely different. Do a drama set in medieval India. That would be hell of a series.
Yeah, that's kind of the funny part about it almost shows how ignorant and racist they really are, because they're totally oblivious to the fact that, yeah, there was shit going on. And it kind of goes to what we keep saying, right, with some of these stories and why they can't get out of their little bubbles. It's like there is shit going on in other places. Like we brought up a million times, especially with Lord of the Rings, is like, do a show that's set in the same period as one of the movies or whatever, but just show us what's going on in a different part of the world. You know, like, why can't you just do that? New characters, new things, you know, same universe, just different time period or different things, different people. But yeah, no, I hear you. That's just silly that they're ignorant of the fact that other things were going on at the same time. So yeah. Anybody else on that one? Ashin Khan sends in £2 and says, didn't black elves go around by boats? Oh, I don't know. Hashtag justice for Geo the Rock sends in 14 South African Rand, says, remember the Kurtzman nuts meltdown for criticism? Yeah, that didn't go so well for them either, did it?
Well, it's just such a weird hill to die on in regards to the black elves. And it's like, we got our first black elf. Now we can, what's that? I mean,
I think Tuvok makes a great black elf. I mean, I don't know why everybody's so mad about him.
They all turned into orcs when Frodo and them came around.
but what happened to Maul by the time we get to the Hobbit?
They became the Uruk-hai.
Oh,
Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because there ain't no black or brown people in Lord of the Rings.
The orcs are just the Uruk-hai are just orcs.
Or they were all enslaved
bred
and put
together.
like in the they were put like in the kitchens and stuff, so you can't see
Oh,
them.
so we're in the deleted scenes, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're washing the dishes in the back. You can't see.
I mean,
One person, nobody
that's
on the
'cause they're all
panel laughed
enslaved.
at my joke. I love channel member Admiral Teague.
Tuvok,
You are
I
a
got
wonderful person. Thank
I
you.
got it.
And I'm sometimes muted,
I got it.
but I don't remember
You
if
know.
I laughed or not. I'm probably too distracted to laugh at anything right now. Shake from the Hunger Team sends in 10 and says, "Hey John, happy to see you were here with these guys and you were doing a good job, but only if you comes with books, but your commentary, thank you." I'm not sure what he means by all that, but okay.
Hey John, happy to see you here with these guys, and you doing a good job, but only if you comes with books. But your commentary, thank you.
Just say you're welcome.
Yeah, you're
I'm
welcome.
not sure.
So,
I think something got lost in the
Buy his
translation.
book. Get his book.
I
Thank
appreciate.
you.
Yeah, if you buy my book, I really do appreciate all the customers out there. We're trying to do what you want, make the stories that you want, try to be a good alternative to it, and I do appreciate everybody who supports. So thank you so much.
No, actually, this has been something we've been wanting to do for a while. Actually, Andre knows. I've been talking to Andre about you for almost 2 years now. We've been trying
way overdue.
Yeah, we've been trying to get you on here for a while, or find a time to work it out, and it just so happened that everything just fell into place. But yeah,
I want to ramble about Star Trek with you though, Tom, because I know that you love Star Trek.
I used to.
Yeah. Are you
Honestly,
excited for
Andre's
Starfleet
probably
Academy?
more of a Trekkie.
We're trying to wrap up the show tonight, Jake.
Sorry.
No. Honestly, the funny thing about Academy is they announced it, they did all this business, but now there's been a lot of silence, so I don't even know if they were shooting it. And this kind of what makes me wonder what's going on over at Paramount. It's funny you bring it up because we recently had a story come out from the South Park guys that makes me kind of believe some of this shit, that everything's kind of come to a dead halt.
I can see
I don't know if saw the story. They said they're not even going to try to bother with the election because it's fucked them so many times in the past. Matt and Trey said, but they also said they're just going to wait for Paramount to figure their shit out. That's almost a literal quote. So I'm wondering if the rumors that I was hearing that Academy is just kind of sitting at a dead halt right now is not true. So that may be because there's so much going on.
I don't want that show. Like, of all shows I could ever conceive of, a Starfleet Academy show with the fat redhead Tilly chick,
right?
And Robert Picardo, like the Trump deranged old actor. Like, that's the last thing I want ever.
Well, and I don't even understand how they're going to bring him in. Like, it's like a data problem, right? Because he's a hologram, so he wouldn't age. How are you going to explain his age?
Are they just? They could superimpose like him as young, like, you know, I guess
Luke.
Yeah.
Uncanny Luke. Yeah.
Yeah, Picardo definitely has TDS. I should write an article on it because nobody covered it. But nobody covered it because nobody cares about Star Trek.
The other day. Yeah, because he had commented about how actors and celebrities speaking out, and I was like, "Look, this is the problem: is you're dividing your audience. It used to be rock the vote, get out and vote. It didn't say rock the vote for Kamala, get out and vote for Biden, right? Like
That's what it always meant, though. It did always mean that.
It may have, but it didn't matter because at least at that point they weren't telling us how to vote.
Right?
They weren't sitting there, you know. Sure, you had your Hanaway Janes and your other people once in a while who would throw shit out. You know, even Brando having what's her face at the Oscars. Paulie knows what I'm talking about. You had those moments. I'm not saying they didn't happen, but it wasn't like 90% of the people going, you know, vote Kamala, vote Kamala, vote Kamala. You know, just to me, it's all part of the same media bullshit that's feeding into the whole thing. But yeah, I don't want to get too deep into politics right now. But yeah.
But he's obnoxious. Robert Picardo is, yes, obnoxious on Twitter. That's true.
He is very much, and I commented on him the other day. That was what I was getting at. So yeah, anyway, Sander Hammerslag is in the house. How you doing, Sander? He's also been a member for 38 months. Holy crap, holy. Says, well, speaking of politics, well, this whole thing started when they pushed the Hillary Ghostbusters 2016 thing. So I suspect the Democrats, via the FBI, CIA, etc., being behind all this. Well, which part are you referring to? I might have stepped out during this bit, but do you guys know what he's referring to here? If it's the rewriting Ripley or something else?
I think he's probably just referring to the entire confrontation of media and politics, how all our entertainment, everything has become hyper and politicized. That it started with the Hillary Ghostbusters thing. I don't think that was something that was done by the authorities. That was something that, they latched onto it, to be sure, but I don't think that was planned.
Well, and as we reported several times, the person who posted that on their Twitter was kind of a rogue individual, or at least that's the way they were treated afterwards.
As for your suspicion beyond that I'm not going to dispute.
I didn't know if maybe they were referring to some of the other events that were going on that seemed awfully strangely timed with some of these other things that a certain group of YouTubers, one we actually know pretty well, who are being implicated in some bullshit, as far as I'm concerned, unless there's some real facts that come out in the meantime. Sure seems real fishy to me, but yeah. I didn't know if that was what he was referring to. So if not, either way, we're going to move on. So we got Mr. Tickle Trunk, who gifted 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you for that, Mr. Tickle Trunk. STR Red Wolf says, what the fuck, Wolf, man? Get that troll off the screen. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me as a troll. That's what I said. It looked like something that escaped from the Harry Potter land.
Well, no, it looked like, it's Halloween night. We're going to give out candy, guys. Who's dressing up as what? Okay. Oh, you got Wolfman? Okay. The uncle has the Wolfman outfit. Get behind the bush. Here they come. And jump out and scare them. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. That's a good assessment of it. Let's move on here.
Indeed. Packing Proton says Universal released a Ghostbuster Horror Nights preview of Raise a Cult. I saw that. So that was pretty cool. And then we got Bingle Bangle Bungle, I'm So Happy in the Jungle, who's been a member for 15 months and says, we can't have nice things anymore. Even when they put women in what was always been a brotherhood, they make the women fugly. Yeah, That's the thing, is they can't have women that are better looking than the writers, and unfortunately the writers are fucking chodes. Goes along with Andre's whole thing with Rose Tico and the Kathleen Kennedy stand-in. That shit's absolutely true.
One of the guys who, the developers of Star Wars Outlaws, said something to that effect too. They said that the reason they made the lead protagonist like that was so she could be, quote, more accessible, as I recall.
Accessible to who?
More accessible, yeah, meaning like you can pick her up easier in a bar. I mean, what?
That's what it sounded like. I mean, you know.
Hey, hey.
Hey-oh.
Hey-oh. You know what Paul Rodriguez once said, right?
What's that?
As long as I have a face, you have a place to sit on.
Oh.
Oh.
You know what I found out the other day?
Where's my drum? Where's my snare drum?
There, you even got some of that. There you go. This is for you, Paul. You know what I found out the other day? It was him who's responsible for Selma Hayek.
Rodriguez?
Yeah, but Paul Rodriguez, because what's his face? I just the directed Desperado. I just forgot his damn name now.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, the other Rodriguez.
Robert.
Yeah, Robert. saw her on his show, and because she was a soap opera star and at the time, but not in America, obviously. And she was bitching that nobody in America would give her a shot because of her accent.
Correct. Yeah, it's pretty thick.
And she spoke some English on the show.
Right.
And he's like, boom, that's who I got to get for Desperado. So it's because of that whole little string of events that got us Selma Hayek to this day. Yeah. Because otherwise they weren't going to give her a shot. Packing Protons says with $20, I started my comic, The Jonas Files, 6 years ago, ahead of the curve, but my artist is so busy, it's taken a while. I'd love to send Tom and Andre and Paul a PDF of the art we have so far for a review and notes. Well, our emails are, you know how to get a hold of me, Packing Protons on X. But yeah, you can always send off to our emails. And I think Paul's is available on his YouTube channel as well, if I'm not mistaken. So shouldn't have a problem with that. And Andre, I think yours is on the main channel, right?
Yep.
So yeah, feel free to send them off to us. And you know me, I'll definitely give you some feedback. Action Com sends in 5 and says, what the hell is Syndicate? Oh, yeah, I've got this one. Packing Proton says, don't watch the pilot of Kaiju number 8 while eating. Somebody else said that too. Maybe it was you before, Packing Protons. I haven't seen this. This is some new anime. Flash, help me out here. What's
I read the manga. I haven't watched the anime. But
is it gross or what's the deal?
It's not. I don't think it's gross. It's just typical.
I guess you're not supposed to eat while watching it, though.
I recommend it.
Yeah, but
get quiet again. You lose Tom.
Yeah, that's a recommendation. So with that, let's move on with the remaining super chats here. Let's see where we were.
Protons.
Yeah, we got Admiral Teague, who's been here for 22 months, and then we've got Pilgrim Media, who says with $2, TGIF Midnight's Edge, you're great. Well, thank you. Sorry, I've been all over the place today with everything. Jesus Davila sends in 5 and says, Yellow Flash 2, have you heard of the we just asking when he Kaiju number 8?
I haven't watched it. I have the Shonen Jump app, and it's on. I read a lot of manga because Shonen Jump app's only $2. So I highly recommend it. You get their entire catalog. It's the fucking best deal in comics. $2, unless they've raised the price, but as far as I know, it's $2. $2, and you get everything Shonen Jump has ever made.
They're saying it's very gory in the chat, so that's probably why. Only 12 episodes, about 20 minutes each.
I've seen
If you want to see
worse.
something fun but not too long.
I've seen worse. It's not that bad.
If it's animated gore, I don't think that has less of effect on me personally than even like, to me, it all depends on how the gore is presented, right? Like something like RoboCop, where the gore is presented that way in a more humorous tone, or Beetlejuice, no problem. Something where it's presented in a more visceral, realistic, tense, almost like torture porn sense, I hate that shit.
No, it's not torture porn.
Yeah, so like if that's,
you're not
to
going
me,
to
it's
see
more
something
the
like
context.
that. You're not going to see something like that in a Shonen Jump manga. It's Shonen, it's for boys.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying that's the differentiation line for me personally. I don't know how you guys feel about gore, but yeah.
Depends. I don't like Hostel or Saw.
That's
That
what I
shit-
mean. Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't for me. I don't like them.
Like if it's happens to be a part of something and it's not the main focal point, yeah. But like you said, stuff like Saw and Hostel and all these ones that are basically torture porn, I'm not into that shit. Or watching some woman be tortured endlessly or something like that. Like no, hack and slash, fine. But Andre, John, anything on that?
Yeah, I don't know what this thing is, so I can't comment.
Yeah,
I
gotcha.
don't.
I basically don't even watch horror movies at all. I just don't want to feel bad ever.
There's some I like. I just bought Wolf Creek the other day. I went to Walmart and they have steel books for Halloween, and Wolf Creek was there. I bought that, and I bought Dracula and Frankenstein because I didn't have those movies. Wolf Creek is kind of a rough movie, but
I was gonna
that
say I think
one's
there's
not-
a Wolf Creek 3 coming out. I just saw.
There was a show that we never got over here. Actually, 2 seasons.
Oh, that must be what they're doing, is releasing that as a movie then instead or whatever, something maybe. Or I don't know, maybe
but
it's
that-
unrelated. Yeah.
I really like that guy who plays that Mick guy. He is creepy. Wolf Creek 1 and 2 are great. I watched the show, the first season. The second season I couldn't finish because the quality was shit. But the first season of the show was really good too. You can watch it on YouTube. Somebody had the episodes uploaded.
I gotta get a sombrero for my Tom icon.
And we got D-Bud here, who's been here for 40 months, has to outdo everybody, had to come in and throw down a 40. Action comes here and he says, you sure that wasn't a biopic of Wolfman, Jack? It's a Wolfman, baby. No, Wolfman's hairier than that Wolfman.
That's about it.
Action comes says, Yellow Flash ever seen Alien Monday? That's that fan anime.
No.
You have not seen that. Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I haven't checked it out myself yet. I've been so just distracted with Beetlejuice and everything else, and Crow before that. So yeah. Packing Proton sends in 5 and says, first episode of Kaiju follows a monster battle cleanup crew. They open monsters like carving steak.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah.
At least in the manga. I haven't seen the show, so
Yeah.
I've only read it.
Yeah. So with that, we're almost out of time here, but on Fridays we like to do So Andre, what did you have for us this week in metal?
Yeah, well, the big story is Linkin Park, and they have had like their lead singer, he died quite a few years ago, but that hasn't stopped them from touring with a female replacement singer, and now they are fully back in action, working on a new album with a new tour with this new female lead singer, whose name is Emily Armstrong. This even got coverage in Deadline Hollywood, of all places. We don't even have to go to a metal magazine here. Tom, I'm putting that in the private chat here.
Well, yeah, I was just about to share my version of it here, but yeah.
Yeah, well, either version will do.
Because I said, so we're gender swapping bands now too?
I don't get this at all. Like, you can't replace and I'm not, I don't mean this in like, it doesn't matter. They would say it's sexist regardless, but it's a band changing a man to a woman. Like, it just doesn't have the same energy. And she can't scream like him. Are they going in a different direction then?
I listened to their clip on it this morning. It
doesn't hit right.
I mean, yeah, it felt like a corporate distilled version of a like cover band of Linkin Park.
That's what I mean. When my reaction to this is I didn't give a shit about the lead singer. That's not the problem.
I did. Chester was
no.
amazing.
Let me finish real quick. Let me finish real quick.
I've been a fan from them since they came on the scene. I've seen them in concert before they were
It's my kid's favorite band too, Flash. Let me finish real quick. My point is, and he agrees with me, my kid said the same thing. Why do this when you could just do the Foo Fighters thing? Just start a new band.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they should have just formed a new super band, and you know, you could have called it anything else and everybody would have been fine with it and all the fans would have came over. This just
That's what I
feels
mean,
kind of
yeah.
disrespectful. This is not Van Halen. You know, they're not
Even
named
that's
after
a
the
good
guitar
example
players.
of how well that usually works when you switch how bad did that divide the fan base? I had to remind people of that before. You literally had the Van Hagar camp and the Van Halen camp after that. It's even a fucking joke in Joe Dirt.
I like both of them. But
Most people
isn't
did
the
but,
same.
Yeah. But think about it. The only time I could think of when a singer had taken over for a dead singer and it actually worked was AC/DC.
I
That's
hate
it.
the words they're using too, like replacing Chester. Like, you can't replace him. Number one, he was much bigger than Mike is. I'm sorry, like, he can actually sing. He just raps. So this is, it just feels wrong. And
Well, this is worse than GNR split up with, you know, half the band going one way and the other half going to me. It's like, no, neither one of you should be Guns N' Roses then.
This
right?
says to me they're not confident that they can move on without using that name. That's what it says to me, because this is not the same band. And it never will be.
And to that point, you guys mentioned why wouldn't they do the Foo Fighters thing? My thought on that is, like, Nirvana, those guys were kind of in their prime at that point. I mean, these guys are, what, 50 something now? Like, they probably don't want to start over with a new name and try to see if it flops or not. I mean, they're probably very, very scared of that. I think that's the whole deal.
I agree with that. Like, I have never been a Linkin Park fan. Like, I get that people are, but it was never my kind of music.
Oh, I loved them when they.
Oh yeah,
when
that's
they
cool.
came out.
That's cool. You love it. Plenty others do.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing.
No, I
So
get it's
not,
fine.
so it's not the kind of band that I really know too much about. But then I assume that the real driving forces behind that band, like Queen, weren't the singer Chester Bennington. Then I imagine that it's the bassist or the drummer or the guitarist. Someone there is the driving force. This is the same thing that you happened with Queen, right? Where they found Freddie Mercury, but he wasn't like one of the original founders. He wasn't the driving force. Now, he was the front man from the audience's point of view. So the moment that he died, the audience would consider Queen to be dead. But then you have the people that actually started the band and that found him to begin with. From their point
Yeah, but
of
who the
view.
fuck
No.
was Queen before him? You know,
That's true. Like his
That's
influence.
exactly, but not in their mind. In their mind, they're like, we found the perfect singer.
No,
here.
I get it, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine
it's
it's
just-
the same thing here.
I hate it when bands do this. Like, it's just, it's over. Maybe let's just.
It is over. It is over, but it is a cash grab, and they're going to tour. You know,
Well, yeah.
they reunited Flash, so because you know these guys are probably getting older, you know, got more bills to pay. We still can ride on that fame. Let's get a new singer. You know, however that whole thing went, and then they signed. You know, they make their money off touring, and that's what this
Oh
is.
yeah,
every band
So-
has done this. Every band.
Well, and from what my kid was telling me, it's not even the whole entire band back. So that's another thing. And
Doesn't
then
have to
like,
be. You know
who
that.
didn't come back?
I don't know who else didn't come back. I didn't pay attention. I don't know who.
As
the
long
band
as you got
members
one
are.
temptation, it's a Temptations.
As long as it
I'm
has,
saying.
as long as it has the person who behind the scenes is the driving force and who owns the copyrights and the trademarks.
You're not
then
wrong.
That is what is needed here.
They should have just made a new super band. Get
They
some
should have. They
like
should
Velvet
have.
Revolver or something.
Or,
you know,
or
I
Audio
agree.
Slave.
And you can get people behind you. See, that's the thing is where I disagree a little bit on the whole part of like, oh, the brand. No, you pay better homage to the brand by saying, we're not going to touch that. Okay, we know that's its own thing in its time. We're going to do this new thing now. Yeah. So hopefully you'll come join us, do this new thing. And we've got this, great
really,
singer. We got, blah, 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 blah. And this is nothing towards the singer at all. I have no problems with the singer at all. I just see it as, this to me is worse than when Queen decided to get what's his face from American Idol to lead the group. This is worse than when fucking Journey got that Asian kid to lead the group. Because it's like you realize that you just took the one thing that made you what you were, regardless of who you think you are, like Andre was pointing out. You can sit there and pretend all day long that Queen was Brian May and all these other guys in the group. No, Freddie Mercury was fucking Queen, okay? He wrote Bohemian Rhapsody. That is your most famous song you're well known for. Get over it, right? You're just going to have to deal with that for the rest of your life. Just like with Journey, guess what? Stephen Perry is Journey. That's just the way it is. You can get as many sound-alikes as you want. There's still not Stephen. It's just not. It's just not. And regardless of what's going on with the band. Yeah.
Even they have toured separately have made their money.
In those cases you had, well, this is more of a case like with Freddie Mercury because you lost him, right? He's gone. You can't replace him. So what do? They go on, they do the tour with this Adam, what is his face guy? Fine, whatever. Most people are accepting of that. But in this case, they're getting a lot of mixed reactions to this and mostly negative. I've seen a lot of people come out and speak about this already. And it's like, you wonder why. This is the worst time to do this.
I can't wait for them to call us all sexist.
That's what I'm saying, because it has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman. I would be acting the same goddamn way if it was any other lead singer, because I'm only a modest fan of Linkin Park. My kid, on the other hand, is a huge fan.
I was a huge fan.
You're a huge fan, so you know where I'm coming from a little bit in this respect.
I've got most of their records.
You would react. My point is, I think you guys would react the same way if it was another guy.
But see, this is like if Sublime, Blind Melon.
They're trying to come back too.
Yeah, but they can't.
You can't.
They didn't. They did. They tried. But
AC/DC is one of the rarities, guys. That was just a lightning in a bottle chance that you found.
Depends on the genre, the type of band. This is just weird. That's I got to bounce, guys.
We're going to be rolling out of here. I just wanted to bring up one good bit of news for music this week. I actually brought a story to the table. This first half of 2024, CDs are making a comeback, kids.
Oh, nice.
They are outselling digital 3-1.
Good.
3-1. So kids are getting into CDs now again. This year alone, they've already sold $236.7 million in CDs, as opposed to $87.8 million in digital sales. So,
hey guys, the redirect's coming over to the slant.
Take care, Paul.
I'm going to start it right now. Flash, John, God bless, man.
So yeah, I just thought that was a bit of good news in the music industry to bring up.
More of a vinyl guy.
A vinyl CD, either way, I think it's a good sign that
get whatever you want.
Physical media is making a comeback. I think that's the main. Yeah, physical media is king. That's the main.
Digital has killed the music industry. Plenty of things has, but that more than anything else.
I just like having the record. I don't know.
I think that's a big part of it too.
CD be the same, I still got a lot of CDs.
People are also learning quickly that digital doesn't mean you always own everything.
Exactly.
But for driving around in my car, I do prefer digital.
Well, the beauty of having a CD is you can rip it into an MP3 and you have the ability to do whatever you want with it from there, right?
I like just being able to say to my phone, play this, and it does.
There's that too. There's that.
But when I'm at home, I never listen to I'm throwing records on, that's different.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple more super chats, and then we're going to get on out of here. Nightwish fan 1991 sends in 10 and says, funny how the woke crowd pushed hard for digital live streaming, live service entertainment, when their stuff is now most likely going to get willowed. Older stuff is still drafts views. Yeah, well, draws views. Well, not only that, that's a good argument for physical media now, isn't it? Physical media used to save a lot of movies and stuff like that when they didn't make their money right away or find an audience right away.
Yeah, definitely. You charge more for it, right?
Yep. Not only that, it has more of a reach. Like somebody's going to be more willing to take a chance if they say, "Oh, here's season 1 of something at a rental show or a rental store or the library." Get into a show as opposed to if they're skimming through Netflix. That's the thing. More people spend time just skimming through Netflix than actually watching shit, I think. Because there's too much option. As opposed to when we were kids and we were our parents would be like, you got 15 minutes, get the fuck in there and get out. All right, I know which movies I'm getting. Okay, Jesus. You had to make decisions then. Dark Saber Force says, with member chat for 19 months, the one they should have gotten is John Howard from Threat Signal. He hits Chester's notes accurately. I'm not familiar with this individual, but
I don't want anybody to replace him.
That's just it.
I started a new super band. Everyone's done this. Remember Velvet Revolver?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's what you should have done, or Foo Fighters, or
that's what I brought
they
up.
did with Nirvana. That's what you should have done. I think it's stupid.
Well,
you'll never be what you were.
That's what I meant with the whole Velvet Revolver thing, when you had basically Axel wrestle the name away from everybody else, and then everybody else just basically scattered and went and did their own things. Slash arguably probably had the most prolific of all of them, because he did that. He went and joined a bunch of super bands, basically, instead of fucking around with Guns N' Roses.
I got his guitar pick at a Velvet Revolver concert.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he threw it in the crowd and it hit me right in the face.
I just read about this Emily Armstrong chick. The one
She's Scientology, bitch.
Yeah, not only that, she's like one of Danny Masterson's, I hate to say victims, but like one of those the church sent for him to be entertained with.
Yeah, it's there's been some stuff coming out about her that just people just didn't like about her individually too. That's the other thing. Yeah. So we'll see how it's received by the audience. Jason Webster sends in what seems to be our last super chat of the day so far. Domestically, Beetlejuice earned 13 million from Thursday night previews. Yeah, it's poised to do about 90 to 100 million in the box office this weekend, unless it falls off hard, which I don't really see that happening. But I do think it's going to have a mixed reaction come out next week. I think it's going to suffer from the same kind of fate that Alien Romulus did. I think that's going to be its more sadly, I think that's going to be the more comparable film this year than I thought it was going to be. The one that was going to give Deadpool and Wolverine a run for its money. But after seeing it and seeing some of the mixed reactions from people, I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm the only one who's seen it. So
yeah, no, we just have to wait. Like if your response is more universal, if more people feel like you, yeah, that thing is going to plummet like a rock. It's going to plummet over it's going to underperform the expectations this weekend. Going to have a 60% plus drop next weekend, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I hope people who see it do enjoy it. I'm not trying to say it's a bad movie overall. It's just overstuffed, full of too many ideas, too many new characters, poorly constructed.
You're describing a bad movie here. You know that.
I know. And what's sad is that the actors didn't deserve this bad of a movie, because the actors in it are giving it their all, right? So. I mean,
I gotta jump out.
We gotta go anyway. So take care of yourself, guys. John, anything to plug? See you tomorrow night, Flash, right? On Flashcast.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me here. I really appreciate everybody hanging out. Check out the comic book on Kickstarter. We are cruising right along. Got a couple of backers over the course of the show, so appreciate all that support. And tune into my channel, and I'll be covering a bunch of Warhammer 40K and BattleTech stuff coming up pretty shortly here. Which is developing right now. So thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, brother. And Andre, anything we got to plug? I know we had a video drop this morning.
Yeah, we had a video drop this morning where I go through the whole modern audience fallacy why you shouldn't cater to them, because they don't exist. So do check that out. Check out Yellow Flash. Check out John De La Rose. Check out his book. Links for everyone is in the description. This is true for Pablo as well. Head on over to the Latino Slant, who's live right now, or just stay tuned, because this stream redirects there. Let him know that that we sent you. There's going to be some politics, a little bit spicy. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And with that, it is time for some koalas in the rain.
Koalas in the rain. Koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koalas in the rain.